know, Diesel, our job is to find the words, have words pertaining to certain topics, certain conversations, and certain stories in sports. That's what we get paid to do, and sports shows are better when words are spoken, right? For the most part, unless it's Dewey. But it's our job, Diesel, to do that, find words. And on this Tuesday, I just don't know if I have the words for Jerickson Profar and the Atlanta Braves. I am dumbfounded that you're telling me, while suspended for PED use, Diesel, what do? Oh, I don't know. Use PEDs again. In case you missed the breaking news earlier today, it's only the Atlanta Braves. Jeff Passan tweeted this out of ESPN just a few hours ago. It's circulated everywhere by now. Breaking news a couple of hours ago, Atlanta Braves DH Jerickson Profar. Diesel facing a 162-game suspension after testing positive for a performance-enhancing drug for the second time. You literally, Diesel, just can't make this up.
Well, what's that old saying? You got to fight fire with fire. And I guess that's what he's doing inside of his own body, right? The only way to recover from a drug addiction is more drugs.
I'm dumbfounded. I mean, I don't even know where to start for these Atlanta Braves. Tolo's welcome into Wire to Wire. He's Diesel. I'm Cole Bryson. If you are having to listen on 97.7 or maybe online, we are aware that both frequencies are down right now, so we're working on that. Engineering is working on that, Diesel. You and I aren't working on it. I don't know how good you and I would be at signal fixing. Is that what it's called?
You can't multitask that much more. I mean, if it was me, I'd be standing in a field somewhere with a coat hanger over my head saying, "Can you hear me now?"
How do you, and I guess this is a question above our pay grade, when a signal does go down, how does one go about fixing the signal?
Ooh, this is like one of those wrong answers only posts on Facebook.
Yeah.
You got to unplug it, plug it back in. Another option is to
what are you unplugging though?
Take it out, blow on it, put it back in. You're too young for that. You don't remember the old cartridge video game consoles.
Oh, I do. No.
Where if it didn't work,
you blow on it.
This was our genius brains in the early 1990s. Was let me take this sensitive piece of computer equipment. And blow spit and Cheetos dust and all this stuff into it.
That's right.
And plug it back in and hope everything works.
I even would go, and this is even better. I remember, licking your fingers a little bit on the disc and rubbing it with your T-shirt.
Wait, what are you doing down there with your
rubbing
hand?
it with your T-shirt like this, like this.
Anybody watching on the stream?
No.
Show.
You take the disc.
Wow.
Do we have a disc? Are there a disc back here? Y'all don't have disc in this studio?
I don't think we use those anymore.
No disc. I don't see it. You would lick like your finger, you wipe
CD,
it down.
You mean?
Not a floppy. Yeah, old D, like a video game. Like a video game.
You keep rubbing it like that, it won't be floppy for long.
That's what I'm saying. There's a floppy disc here. You know what I'm talking about. You used to just wipe them with your shirt, put them back in, and guess what? They were fixed. They were fixed, and it worked. Like Shane Barrett said, it worked. And I don't know how one would go about fixing the radio. I mean, what do you plug? You said plug it, unplug it, and plug. What are you unplugging?
The power source.
Nobody knows.
Hit it with a hammer. If that doesn't work, hit it with a bigger hammer.
Let's do this real quick. Since we're on this crazy, what do you call this? Rabbit
tangent?
Trail?
Yeah.
Let's go to ChatGPT. How does one go about
You know how our listeners feel about ChatGPT.
I know. How does one go about fixing a radio signal that is down? What does ChatGPT say? Because it has an answer for everything. Ready?
Yeah.
When a radio signal is down, the fix depends on whether you're talking about a broadcast station, in-studio, receiver issue. If the station is off the air, most common causes: power outage, breaker trip, lightning hit, generator failed to op. There's no
somebody's trying to use the hairdryer when there's too much draw on the system as it is, and it tripped the breaker.
So I texted it back. I sent ChatGPT back, and I said, just the FM is down. And it says, all right, if just the FM is down, here's how engineers typically narrow it down fast. I'll assume the stream's working fine, which it is. Studio fine, which it is. Step one, is there a carrier at all? Do you know what a carrier is, Diesel? I don't know what a carrier is. Is there a silent carrier? I don't know what that is. Most common causes: transmitter faulted, shut down. modern FM transmitters will shut down for high VSWR, which is an antenna line issue. Did you know that? Overheating.
Totally. Knew that, yeah.
Lightning surge.
Absolutely.
Power supply fault.
So throw some water on it.
Maybe.
It's overheating.
Or ChatGPT says it could be a site power issue. If the studio has power, but the FM's down, could be a site power or a STL failure. If the carrier is on, but there's no audio, the IP link and the microwave STL misaligned.
All this sounds like gibberish to me.
That's what it is. And I'm just reading it from ChatGPT. So send this ChatGPT answer to engineering. I'm sure they would love that, by the way. What would the response be, Diesel, from our engineering department?
We would be permanently last on the list of importance of stations to get back on.
That's what I'm saying.
That friggin' Cole Bryson.
We have a lot of
us ChatGPT articles to tell us how to do our
fix
jobs.
the radio. Steven on Facebook asked, Diesel, did you hear about how Cole tried to blow up the station while you were out?
What?
Yeah, it's true. Last Monday I was sitting right here, 2:00, plugged my cell phone in, and it just went zap. I told you.
That. Yes.
So then it got super hot. I couldn't hold it. So I put it in your freezer. And Steven and a few others were like, no, don't put it in the freezer. They said, that's bad for it. Well, it was really hot. So
bad
what did I
for
do?
the freezer or bad for the phone?
Phone.
Oh.
But somebody asked ChatGPT or Google or Dan B or somebody, and they said if it overheats and you put it in the freezer, it could explode. That's what it said.
Oh.
So
this is where you're not thinking, Cole.
Yeah.
You had a settlement on your hands right in front of you. You could have made millions. I don't know from who?
Odyssey.
You want to sue Odyssey.
People have before.
You want to sue Apple.
You want to sue
Apple. They're the ones with the money. You sue them.
Yeah.
And say, hey, I used one of your cables and my phone blew up.
Yeah.
It flung acid in my face.
Good point.
The shrapnel off of the phone got embedded into my skin. I'm never going to walk right again.
Yeah.
And
so
then you got a case.
Then I'd be rich and we wouldn't be on the show with you anymore. But you know what's funny about it? The texters had me so gullible and believing that maybe something was happening to my phone. And while it was in the freezer, that when I went to commercial break, Diesel, on Monday, I didn't know what I was going to open that door to right there. If the hallway was going to be on fire, what was going to happen?
Would you have bought me a new refrigerator if your phone had blown up my refrigerator?
That'd been the nice thing to do.
It would have been.
I would have. Yeah, I would have. It would have been a great story, though. It would have been a great story. I mean, hey,
come back yesterday, and the freezer's got a big hole in it,
and there's a hole in the floor. Right. I love that. I absolutely love that. So, unfortunately, it didn't happen. There was no hole in the floor, and the phone was okay. But sorry for that rabbit trail tangent we got down. They are
the coal hole.
The coal hole. Engineering is working on these signals being down. So until then, Odyssey app, Facebook, Twitter, YouTube, what else? That's it, I believe. iHeartRadio app, right? TuneIn app, so many different ways. And Diesel, we got to get back to this Jurickson Profar thing. What should be the consequences in your mind and in the mind of the Tolos for Jurickson Profar, who Diesel is already suspended for PED use, and now, bam, another 162 games. Is his career with the Atlanta Braves now over?
Should be. I mean, how do you let a guy like that let your team down multiple times? And I obviously remember this happening to start the last season.
Yeah.
I don't remember exactly what it was that was in his system to start last season that got him banned for 80-something games. If it's the same thing, he's clearly an absolute moron who doesn't follow up with his doctor, who doesn't find out what it is he's taking, who just takes whatever somebody tells him to do, or he genuinely doesn't care about the team. And he's only thinking about how would you think that if I got busted for this substance once, that they wouldn't be looking for the same substance again?
You know what I don't understand? And you're right. There are substances and different things, right? You've seen instances, Diesel, where athletes, especially at the collegiate level, do make a mistake, right? They make a mistake, take something they shouldn't have, and it's got whatever in it, and pop, they're suspended, right? I just don't know how. After you get suspended the first time.
First time was for HCG.
How does this happen? How does this happen again? How do you not know? How are you not more aware?
You can find Osterine in anything,
I mean, I just can't figure it out. I just cannot figure it out.
Yeah.
And as a Braves fan, I'm just livid because the injuries have, for the past few years, just been absolutely decimating this Atlanta Braves roster. And your luck, your fortune, whatever you want to call it, for the injuries have been so bad, Diesel. And now this, because we thought last year was bad enough. And for those that, like Shane just asked on the stream, those that just tuned in, Jurickson Profar popped again, 162 games.
And the DH for the Braves this year.
The DH. And this is where we are now. Jurickson, supposed to be a really good player for this Braves team. Once again, same thing. Let's go to the phone lines and get Dewey's reaction. Tolos, you can chime in as well at 844-326-3663. What do you think about this, Dewey?
First of all, it makes me very angry that y'all broke the radio.
Yeah.
What if you broke the radio?
Well, I didn't do it because I just turned it on and I hear this.
We didn't do it because it hurts us if we do it.
Well, that'll be okay. Y'all got insurance. But about this Jurickson Profar thing, it's a travesty. He should be banned from baseball. The end of the discussion. That's the end of him. And Alex Anthopoulos should be fired for getting this guy knowing he's a drug dealer. This is ridiculous. Now, who are they going to replace him with? Some little guy from AAA who bats 125 and has like 6 errors a game? This is ridiculous. The Braves, it's over. The season's already over. Walt Roy should be fired. Alex Anthopoulos should be fired. They got no one. Yeah, they got Chris Sale, but he's 100 years old. He's probably going to be injured in the first week. And it's over. And this is what people don't like baseball, because of steroid use and these drug dealers.
Good call, Dewey. Did he call him a drug dealer?
Call him a drug dealer.
Jurickson Profar has now been labeled by Dewey. If that word gets out to Jurickson, if he listens, and he can't listen today because the signal's down right now, but
yeah,
if Jurickson Profar is watching the stream on Twitter, Facebook, and YouTube, he's going to be livid with Dewey.
Jurickson Profar, last year obviously missed half the season. Hit 14 homers, hit for 245 once he got back onto the field. So you could argue that he's worth maybe about 25 homers a year and worth about, he had 43 RBIs last year. You could say he's worth about 80 RBIs and 25 home runs. That's a good hitter. It's not unbelievable, but it's a good hitter. So, I mean, it would hurt a lot more if this was a starting pitcher that was going down for the Braves. You could probably replace a 245 hitter and get somebody that can give you something close to that. You got to cut him from the team, though. You got to cut him from the team. I don't know, maybe I don't even know what the process is. If the Braves have to cut somebody in a manner like this, do they have to pay him anything? Do they owe him? Can they just cut him outright and say, you screwed us over twice, you get nothing from us? I mean, that would be the best thing for the Braves. That way they could spend that money and go get somebody else who could give them as close to this as possible.
Another thing about it is, man, there's got to be something going forward. And I don't know that we'll ever reach this point, Diesel, but there's got to be something going forward to protect clubs from this happening. And I don't mean preventing this case from happening. I mean protecting you from a financial aspect, because the Braves are going to be screwed up the river because of this. And you talked about his statistics there, and I think it's a big loss, because you now have to fill the DH with somebody who is valuable. And what Jurickson Profar, his ceiling, I think, is what excited a lot of Braves fans about what he could do in 2025, and then again in 2026, coming off the PED suspension, right? So my whole point is, I think there's got to be something going forward where the Braves and the MLB look at this and say, well, how can we protect clubs so that when instances like this do happen, there's some sort of out. What that out looks like, Diesel, I don't know. I don't get paid enough to come up with those kind of outs. I just hate it for the Braves standpoint, general manager, players on the team. How fair is it to the players on the team that are actually doing the right thing, that are not taking these PEDs? And I don't care if it was intentional or not. Diesel, it is your job as a MLB player. It's your job, Diesel, and my job to know what we can and cannot say through these microphones. It is Jurickson Profar's job. He gets paid, by the way, a lot more than you and I do. He gets paid to know what he can and cannot put in his body. Yeah. And the fact that we're having to go down this road once again, he should be cut.
After he just missed half a season.
Just missed. He should have to pay back the money that he's been paid. There's got to be a way for clubs and teams and organizations to protect themselves. I hate this. I hate this more than I can tell you on air. I hate this. Yes, for you and those that have said he needs to be cut, he does need to be cut. Enough is enough. 162 game suspension. I think this is just devastating for the Atlanta Braves.
Yeah, it's really, really unfortunate. Again, maybe they can recover some of his production for this year, but you're right. They have to find a way to get something back out of this guy. I mean, they cannot. I mean, you can't just suspend him for another year and keep paying him for another year. You can't have that. And hey, maybe that means they need to do some major investigation in their own medical staff. Who knows? Was it Jurickson's guy that gave him PEDs? Did he take him on his own? Was it potentially somebody related to the Braves? Who knows exactly who gave him the PEDs this time? But you're right. Ultimately, it is his own responsibility to understand what he's putting into his body, especially after he just cost his team in a major way last year. You cannot let that happen again.
Diesel, we did get an update. We were going back to our ChatGPT question, and I think we have to give ChatGPT a little credit for this. You ready? We got an update from one of our engineers on email. He says, sounds like the carrier is present without modulation. Do you know what that means? By the way, if you have no idea what we're talking about, Tolo's engineering working on getting our FM back on.
Carrier's working, but there's no modulation.
That's right.
For a man over 45, it usually means it's time to go to your doctor and schedule a colonoscopy.
Correct. Not that, though. I asked ChatGPT what that meant. It means the transmitter is on, but the audio is not reaching the transmitter. That's called the dead carrier, or carrier without modulation. What it technically means, according to ChatGPT, an FM station has two parts: carrier, RF signal, the transmitter generating the frequency, and the modulation, which is the audio, the sound riding on that carrier. And for whatever reason, the audio chain is not feeding the exeter. How about, and it could be because of an STL failure. That's what ChatGPT. Look at ChatGPT. I mean, I'm telling you, it's got this thing figured out. So
we could have just called Chris, and he would have explained all this to us.
Then he got mad that we called him while he was trying to fix the radio station.
Guys, you're wasting time here.
We'd get a lecture, right, and an email, and we'd get called into our boss's office about how that's not good. Hey, yes, Shane on the YouTube stream asked, Cole, do you ask ChatGPT everything? I do. I do.
It does feel like you can trust ChatGPT more than Google now, because Google, it'll give you whatever answer you're looking for, right or wrong. It'll give you, it'll send down paid advertisements way more than it'll actually give you the answer to the question. So ChatGPT, I guess, is more trustworthy.
And Google 9 times out of 10, when I ask Google something, it's AI. The first answer that I get is an AI generated answer. It's not like just the old links, that you used to get.
I can't stand Google for that reason.
Yeah. Puppy Monkey Baby Tolo on the YouTube stream says, looking forward to the March Madness Challenge. Tolos need to get in where you fit in. And yes, Puppy Monkey Baby, I did post that on our social medias earlier today. And when we get back on the FM radio, we'll pump that up more for those listening on the app and on Twitter, Facebook, and YouTube. The March Madness Bracket Challenge is open, and you can see it on our Twitter and Facebook page at The Fan Upstate. The link's there. And let's see how many have joined so far. What's your guess? How many Tolos have joined as of right now, Diesel?
32.
Oh, that's a lot. I don't know that many has.
Oh.
I don't know. Let's see. Let's find out.
Interesting.
I love the March Madness bracket, though. I really do. Men's Tournament Challenge. If you didn't play last year, if you didn't get in last year, I don't remember how you and I did, but you remember.
I didn't do well at all.
I think I did decent. I just don't remember exactly how many.
I remember one side of my bracket being okay, and then the other three just being completely decimated on weekend number one.
We've got 8 Tolos as of right now who have joined just in the last few hours. That's right. And once we get back on FM and our FM signal is back on, we'll pump that up and try to get those numbers up there. But I see Blake Hammett. I see myself. I see Puppy Monkey Baby. Tom, of course. Yeah. Tom's there.
Go Gamecocks.
I see Cole, Kelly, Green, Bryson. I don't know who that is. I see Cocky Jake. I saw Bob. We had a baby. It's a boy on there. Let's see. Do you remember Bob? We had a baby. It's a boy. That was somebody from last year.
Yeah, he was in the Upset Picks Challenge.
Oh, that's right.
And as a matter of fact, I saw that commercial a couple weeks ago on TV. It's like one of those classic commercial YouTube videos.
Yeah.
Bob, we had a baby. It's a boy. Hey,
I do remember that from the Upset Picks Challenge.
Yeah.
Blake says Cole will probably get ChatGPT to fill out his bracket. You know what? That's not a bad idea. That's not a bad idea. I wonder, we're going to have to experiment that.
What if ChatGPT is really good at picking the brackets?
That's what I'm saying.
How many people out there in the world, though, are going to pick their brackets with ChatGPT?
I bet a lot.
But also, you know for a fact that ChatGPT will spit out different answers.
Different answers. That's right.
It doesn't always give you the same answer.
It won't be uniform.
Right.
But you know what? It'd be fun. It would be fun to get a paper bracket and do that and see what ChatGPT. Or I wonder if we could create a user in here. Maybe I might have to just do an old-fashioned paper bracket, Diesel, and put us a ChatGPT bracket together and see how well it does.
Yeah, let's
do it.
Cole, we got a big show coming up for you. For all the Tolos as well. We have a guest coming on at 4:22, Rocco Miller of Bracketeer.org. Also coming up at 5:22, we've got the commissioner of the Southern Conference, Michael Cross. He's going to join us on the show. But when we come back, Cole, I want to ask you, outside of the easy apparent answers of Dabo Sweeney and Shane Beamer, who is the singular face of sports in the Carolinas?
Ooh.
And I'm going to argue that right now, it's a retired athlete. We'll get into that next, right here on the Fan Upstate.
Upstate.
Well, just like that, I am now in the wire-to-wire ESPN Men's Tournament Challenge. Tolos, jump in. You can get a link right now on our Facebook page, The Fan Upstate.
Yep.
You put it in other places
Twitter.
too, Cole? It's on our Twitter,
Yeah.
at The Fan Upstate. Easy to find.
I love the countdown at the top.
Yeah.
12 days, 3 hours, 31 minutes, and 33 seconds. Well, 32. Well,
I put
31.
myself in there as Diesel Don't Know Ball.
That means you're going to win it.
Well, I figured if I put Diesel Knows Ball, number one, that's a douchey thing to put as your screen name. Number two, I knew that somebody would create one that says Diesel Don't Know Ball, so I had to be the one. I had to jump in there first before anyone else was able to get a hold of it. So jump on there on Facebook and Twitter. Just go to The Fan Upstate and find the link there. Cole, who do you think right now, outside of the two obvious choices, which I think most people would say, Dabo Sweeney, and if not Dabo Sweeney, Shane Beamer, who would you say is the singular face of sports in the Carolinas? I say Carolinas because South Carolina, we're a smallish state. We don't have a professional team. We really limit ourselves if it's just one state. So I'm going to open it up just a little bit and say the Carolinas, even though we could not be more different in South Carolina than people in North Carolina are. Who would you say is the singular face of sports in the Carolinas?
That's a good one.
John Shire? God, who would want that crybaby being the face of sports for these two states?
Yeah.
Is it Michael Jordan? I'm going to say Michael Jordan right now is a prime candidate. NASCAR team owner. His team's won 3 straight races.
Yeah.
I mean, you could say on top of all of his accomplishments as a basketball player and one mediocre baseball player as well, that Michael Jordan is on top of the sports game in the Carolinas right now.
You could, and those are good. Those are good, good choices. I would, I'm thinking about Dabo and Shane in terms of the football. Obviously, football has a wide reach, right, Diesel? But I would even go out there and say, let me throw one out there. The face of the state or the Carolinas might be the coach that's won recent national championships, and that'd be Dawn Staley.
Yeah.
Dawn Staley's been at the top of her sport for a long time.
Yep.
And I would imagine that for those that follow women's basketball, when you say across the country, South Carolina, Clemson doesn't have the name South Carolina in the name of the school.
Right.
I would think a lot of people, when you say South Carolina, think Dawn Staley. Now, if you say Carolinas, obviously it opens it up. But I think Dawn Staley might be up there right now.
Well, this is, I assure you, and I know that you have been working very hard, and we have certain somebody coming on the air with us this week. Is that right?
Yes.
I know,
don't know when yet, but
somebody is gonna tweet this at her and say, Diesel said such and such. I'm not saying this to be in a sexist way at all,
Mm-hmm.
but is a elite as she is women's college basketball coach in what most would consider a niche sport, a big enough deal to be the face of sports in 2 states?
I think the way that she's transcended the game, I think maybe so.
I saw her in a commercial yesterday.
Yeah.
The Aflac.
Nick
Saban and
Yeah.
Prime. Like that to me is the transcendence when you jettison out of the thing that you were known for and you start getting additional play in other formats that other people know. That's when you transcend.
No, it is. And again, she's had such an impact. And I know that, a lot of people don't follow women's basketball, and that's part of it. But the face of the Carolinas, I think she's got to be up there. Of course, Dabo's up there because he's been at Clemson for so long, Diesel, and he's won 2 championships. I think Dabo and Dawn are both kind of at the same level for me in terms of being the face. Now, North Carolina, when you add in the Carolinas, I think it makes it interesting.
Hubert Davis? No.
Feels
like a guy that is struggling to stay in the top 25. You can't say that guy's the face, even though he is the head coach of UNC basketball. That's a big deal.
And people know who he is. And just like John Shire, people know who he is, because of his job. It's one of the best jobs in basketball. It's one of the best jobs in sports.
John Shire's a big old pansy who cries about everything. Oh, they're attacking my guys. They're punching my staff.
They rush the court, right? They rush the court.
See, I hate that argument, though, of well, if you don't want to get stormed, win the game. No, that shouldn't be the standard that we apply to it.
Let me ask you this one. Let me throw a name at you in terms of face the Carolinas. And again, I know that this is going to be singular to a certain sport, but Kevin Garnett could be in the conversation. He's one of the best all-time Hall of Famer in the NBA, born right here in Greenville.
But where is he now? Do we even know what he's doing?
No, I don't know what he's doing now.
Yeah, and to be a face, you got to be public facing.
Do you?
I would say so.
Yeah, maybe so. You have to still be in a public light.
Yeah, I would say so. I mean, you can't be the face from the background. That's not really how being the face works.
Yeah, maybe so. Maybe there's some truth to that, right? Yeah. Right now, he is with the Minnesota Timberwolves as a team ambassador and consultant. So obviously in a different part of the country, right?
What a gig to be a team ambassador. That means you live somewhat close enough that if they call you and say, hey, we need you to come be a mascot, we need you to come and not like the mascot on the court, but we need you to come and be no, he wouldn't. It'd be real easy to spot too, by the way.
Yeah.
If you imagine having somebody walk in a Timberwolves plush costume, but you see like 3 feet of legs sticking out of the bottom of it. You're like, oh, what's up, KG?
I don't know. I do agree with you. I think it helps to still be like current. People know people know who Kevin Garnett is, but still active. Like if Dawn Staley retired, would she be allowed to be the face?
Yeah.
If Dabo Swinney retired, would he be allowed to be? It's difficult, though. This is a hard question to answer, who the face of the Carolinas would be.
So am I safe here in making the argument that it's one of either Dawn Staley, Dabo Swinney, Michael Jordan? Am I going too far by saying Michael Jordan is a face of sports in the state? The states, combined states.
If
MJ does he still have any ownership of the Hornets at all, or did he sell all of his piece?
If he does, it's not much.
Right. Like if he was still actively involved with that and actively involved in NASCAR in the way that he is, I'd say shut it down. It's MJ.
I think he's definitely up there because NASCAR is so prevalent too, like North Carolina and the Charlotte, Statesville area, because the Hall of Fame being in Charlotte and a lot of the race teams, most of the race teams, diesel operating out of the state of North Carolina. That's big, right? It is a North Carolina based sport. So that definitely helps.
And see, now I'm kind of second guessing myself. I would say I would not have said Michael Jordan if his team hadn't just won 3 straight races to start the season. Because then he's just another rich guy with a past, and he's got a team, and that's cool that he's out there having fun with it. But he's won 3 straight races. He is everywhere now. I mean, he's taken NASCAR to court. He is all over television after they've won these races.
We're back, by the way. We're back.
About
that? We're back. For those that just tuned in, that are just now hearing us, we're back, baby. Sorry for the 37 minutes we were off the air on FM.
Some people might say it's a good thing.
Some would argue that it is a good thing.
Those people would be wrong.
For those that just caught us, that were listening to Dead Air for the past 37 minutes, like I was on the way here, I kept the Dead Air on just so I would know when it was, back on. It was bad. It was a really tough drive here.
I was in there listening to a toe tapper.
It was so bad, man. It really was. So for those that just tuned in on FM, who the face of the Carolinas is from a sports perspective, that's pretty tough.
Yeah,
I would say
current face, by the way. Current face.
The whole Michael thing, I'm dancing around with it. I'm 50-50 on it.
Is Dabo a bigger deal than Michael Jordan?
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. In the Carolinas, yes.
Plural, yes.
Yes. Now, from a national perspective,
even with his failures over the last 2 seasons.
Yeah, I think so.
Ooh.
I do. I do. And Blake brings up a good point on YouTube.
It's fair.
He says, I feel like 80% plus of people didn't even know Michael Jordan had a NASCAR team until he won. That's probably a good point. I would say probably so on that.
You talk about like polling just man on the street, just stop any random person. You know, what's Michael Jordan doing nowadays? Or are you talking about sports fans? Because I think a lot of sports fans. Dewey says Lenora Sellers.
No, I don't know that it's tough, man. It's tough. I would argue
Josiah Thompson.
And Tolos, tell me if you think I'm wrong here. I would argue that in the Carolinas, Dabo is a bigger face/name than MJ because of his longevity.
And you've convinced me. Okay, you've convinced me. I'm demoting MJ down the. I think he's still on the Mount Rushmore.
No, 100%.
Still on the Mount Rushmore. Yes. Maybe not as if you're going left or right. He's not face number one.
Would you go Michael or Don though? So if we went Dabo 1, would Michael or Don get 2?
I
think I'd go just off the cuff. I think I'd go Don 2.
I would argue Don is 1 now.
Maybe so.
Don is 1 because think about it this way: Dabo's not winning at the clip that he was. Yeah, Dabo put himself out there in trying to combat Ole Miss and trying to go after the tampering issues. But there's a lot of people, even outside of the state of Mississippi, who are like, yeah, Dabo, shut up. We don't care what you think anymore.
And
that to me is a status drop right there.
Yeah, the fact that I think his recent or lack of recent success, to your point, might have stained him a little bit. But
if he had a title in the last 2 years, yeah.
People still know who he is across the country, I feel like. Let's go to the phone lines, 844-326-3663. TA, don't you apologize for calling back-to-back days, man. You can call every day. That's what the Tolos do. Turn it on, leave it on. You're a Tolo. What's up?
I'm flipping out over Dabo being above Michael Jordan, who was just born and raised 4 hours up the road in North Carolina.
Well,
I don't think you can go anywhere in the world and say Michael Jordan and everybody.
No, I agree with that, but we're saying just for the Carolinas.
Current face of sports in the Carolinas. You're thinking globally.
North Carolina. He's from North Carolina.
Yeah,
that's a Carolina. So I just can't agree with that.
You would go Michael Jordan 1, and then who else? Where would you go 2 and 3?
Y'all were very close. I would go Dabo or Don because Don's been on a much hotter streak recently than Dabo.
Yeah.
But I think they're 1A and 1B or 2A and 2B behind Michael Jordan. And if you follow Michael Jordan or racing in particular, Michael Jordan had a motorcycle team for several years before he sold his majority part in the Charlotte Hornets and became a NASCAR owner. And obviously we talked yesterday that his team is off and running with 3 in a row in the Daytona 500, the first race of the year, at numero uno, the biggest race in NASCAR of the year.
No, hey, let me ask you this real quick, TA. This is for you and Diesel both, because I'm with you. I think you're doing a good job of convincing me Michael might be 1 in terms of the face of the Carolinas. But let me ask you this: is Michael a bigger face, Diesel and TA, in another state? He played his NBA career in Chicago, Illinois, right? Is he a bigger face in Chicago, Illinois, the state of Illinois, than he is in the Carolinas?
Yes. Yeah.
Okay.
I just think it's a worldwide thing almost.
Yeah.
I just think Michael Jordan, you say that from California to Kalamazoo, Michigan to Beijing, China.
But
Michael Jordan is going to get love, man. I'm telling you, over any name you can call out.
Can you call somebody now? Maybe the fact that he was just in court publicly fighting on behalf of ownership teams in NASCAR, that he is doing his part as a public facing member of this sport. But like, truthfully, being an owner of a NASCAR team, this ain't Jerry Jones, right? Where you're out there involved in every aspect. It is kind of a back burner type of position. Some would say that's a great thing for you to be a back burner type of owner. But would you say the fact that he's not out there publicly leading the charge as a dock against them in this conversation, TA?
Joe Gibbs changed it when he went from a Super Bowl champion
Ooh,
to
true
a
point.
NASCAR
Yeah, I like that.
champion.
I like that. I love Joe Gibbs, by the way. Love Joe Gibbs.
Yeah.
And Michael Jordan, the team owner, really isn't supposed to be at the forefront because you got the race car driver in that particular sport. Like Dale Earnhardt, obviously took him 25 years before he eventually owned the team, but his name was still the biggest name in NASCAR before he became an owner. So
yeah,
I would say that's apples and oranges a little bit, but
it's
Michael
tough.
Jordan,
yeah,
man. Michael Jordan.
And you did a good job. By the way, thanks for the call, TA. TA did a good job. I'm torn. I am, because it's tough. Here's what, like, he's right. He grew up in Wilmington, North Carolina, right? He was born in Brooklyn, but his parents moved him here at a very young age, a toddler. So he's, even though he wasn't born in North Carolina, he's still pretty much Diesel from North Carolina. He's been here his whole life.
See, as we've argued the Dabo versus Dawn 2A, 2B, or 1A, 1B, however you want to look at it right now, wherever you're coming from, I would say that Dawn Staley might be a bigger face of sports in the Carolinas than Dabo is right this minute. Now, any of that could change if Clemson basketball has an amazing season, or Dawn Staley could pull ahead, and it wouldn't be a 2A, 2B. It would be a 2 versus 3 conversation if Dawn goes and wins another title.
No, I think so. It's tough, though. But I think we're all on the same page that it is Michael, Dabo, and Don, top three.
Yeah.
How you order those three, that's tough. I love all three. I really do. I love all three of them, and they're all at the top. It's just a matter of opinion on who's where. Speaking of the Carolinas, what about this? Pro football coming to South Carolina.
Oh.
Will South Carolinians care? We'll tell you about it next.
Fan Upstate.
Well, Diesel, there is pro football coming to the Carolinas. And yes, that is a true statement. It's not a joke. It's not a gag. There is professional football coming to the Carolinas. Now, which level of professional football is making its way to the Carolinas, Diesel? Have you and the Tolos heard of the Apex Pro Football League?
The APFL, yeah, big fan.
Big fan, right?
A lot of great athletes. And,
yeah,
and
I'm
coaches,
sure you're right on that.
Cutting their teeth at an exciting level of football. What is this? Is this video game football? What is this?
Yes, that is the answer. So Apex Pro Football. I would be shocked if any of our Tolos out there have heard of it before. But Apex Pro Football League unveiling the South Carolina Seawolves. The South Carolina Seawolves and the 2027 plans. So while they don't kick off their first games until spring of 2027, the all-new Apex Pro Football League, APFL, kicked off their launch party at Union Station in downtown Charleston, where the team will be. So it is an upstart league, Diesel, with corporate offices in Mount Pleasant, beginning with 4 teams, including the Virginia Battle, which I love that, by the way. I love that name. Great name. A really good name. The Louisiana Venom.
Yeah.
The New York Demolition. Not a fan. And the South Carolina Seawolves. Seawolves, and you like Seawolves. I don't know what a Seawolf. I don't hate it. I initially like it better than I like the Spartan Burger, right?
Yeah. What is a sea wolf, though? What is a sea wolf? Wolves are land-based animals,
right?
Sea wolves, you could say, like, what is their logo going to be? Is it going to be a shark?
Wait a minute.
A whale, a dolphin?
ChatGPT says sea wolf is a nickname for an orca. It's a killer whale.
Yeah, because I've seen so many killer whales off the Charleston coast.
Yeah, you got to stand out. No. You got to go like on the dock, on the pier. And
I see orcas everywhere.
You don't look in the right spot. They're sea wolves.
I mean, orcas are pretty badass. I'm not gonna lie.
They are.
They're
killer whale.
They're vicious.
Hunting packs, highly intelligent. They're
delicious too.
Really?
Yeah, totally.
So they're actually a family of the dolphin. They're not a family of the whale, but sometimes they're named the wolf of the sea, so maybe that's what they're hitting at there. The sea wolves. I don't hate it.
Has anyone ever seen a sea wolf off the coast of Charleston?
One time Dewey did when he was down there. So, Diesel, do those South Carolinians out there listening today have any interest in the all-new Apex Pro Football League?
Yeah, this is gonna be heavily supported. Heavily. The hotbed of football that is Charleston, South Carolina.
They'll be playing at the Citadel, by the way.
Is this flag football?
Yeah.
Really, they're going to be playing at Citadel?
Where else are going to play? Beach football? Isle of Palms?
Charleston Southern?
No, you don't want to go there. Have you been there?
No,
you don't.
Is it really bad?
It's bad.
Oh, God.
It's really
Apologies to our Buccaneers fans.
It's really bad. Really bad.
Charleston Southern Buccaneers, is that right?
That's right. Yeah. So you got to go the Citadel. So there you have it. Pro football coming to the Carolinas, and it's real. It's not just a gag.
See, this is what I've been railing against for years in this state. We expect highest level greatness.
Yeah.
And we are not going to support anything less. So this is not going to work. It's going to fail.
It's not. But we can at least say pro football is headed to the Carolinas.
Woo!
Get excited, baby.
Semi-pro football.
Yeah.
Low-level football.
It's still pro-ish.
How many layers below college football is this? How many layers deep is this in professional football? That's what I want to know.
I love it.
It's Wire to Wire with Diesel and Cole Bryson. Tolos in the very next segment. I wonder if this change that is proposed and is already making its way through an SEC state legislature should come to the state of South Carolina. We'll talk about this next, right here on the Fan Upstate. You know, Cole, with college football right now, it always feels like we're 2 steps forward, 1 step back. Or maybe the other way around. It's 1 step forward and 2 steps back, because we now have the state of Mississippi House of Representatives who have passed a bill that would exempt Mississippi student athletes from paying taxes on their NIL money.
Yeah. You're joking.
I'm not joking.
No, this isn't right.
I'm not joking. This has already passed the Mississippi House. Next, it'll go to the Mississippi State Senate. And if it passes there, it'll go to the governor's desk, and he will sign the thing into law, presumably. So, state of Mississippi state income tax, it's 4.4%. That is potentially a very big recruiting advantage for Ole Miss and Mississippi State to be able to say, hey, you come to our state, you play football here. We're going to give you a lot of money, by the way. And that's going to come out to be a big time tax savings for you. Now, this won't exempt any of these players from paying federal income tax, but state income tax, for example, for Trinidad Chambliss, who I would assume is the highest paid player in the state, who is set to receive about $6 million in NIL money next season. For him, that would come out to about $265,000 in tax savings by not having to pay state income tax in the state of Mississippi. Obviously, for guys not making anywhere near the $6 million price tag that he's getting, it won't affect them quite as much. But, I mean, come on. If you're a student athlete and you're choosing between going to Ole Miss or Alabama or Auburn, you might say to yourself, well, the offer's the same. Yeah. Over there, I won't have to pay any state income taxes. Let me just go over there to the state of Mississippi. This is where we are, Cole. I mean, this is representatives of a state, the adults in the room, presumably, making a terrible decision that doesn't teach the student athletes that are playing and benefiting from being in their state, doesn't teach them any life lessons about taxes, about what you have to do to be a functioning member of society.
Yeah. So just before I give my thoughts on what I think about this new law that could go into place that still has to go through the Senate, right? Here's the way it could work. For those out there that don't know, he still has to pay, or any person, if it passes, still has to pay federal income tax. Right. It's just state tax. However, it's a lot of money depending on how much money you're making.
And collectively, it's a lot of money.
Collectively, it is. Collectively, when you start talking about different athletes. Now, let's say, for example, there's an athlete, Trinidad Chambliss, or whoever it is, that has a $1 million NIL deal, Diesel, okay? So maybe that's high, maybe that's low. But let's use a round good number of $1 million, right?
Yep.
Mississippi's top state income tax is 4.4, is what you said. They've been phasing it down from 5%. So if an athlete earned $1 million, let's say in 1 year, an NIL, so he or she was given a $1 million check for that 1 year, state tax at 4.4% would be 1 million times 0.044, which would equal $44,000 in state income tax. So that's how much, even though it's not federal, think about that. That just goes to show, and I know federal taxes, it's much more. So you still have to pay federal tax, but the real number could vary slightly depending on the bracket that they're in and the deductions. But at that income level, Diesel, you're essentially paying the top rate when you talk about $1 million. So you take $44,000, which is what a lot of people, median income in the Carolinas, in the country, whatever, a lot of people are earning $44,000 for their entire year. So to them, that's a lot of money that this athlete will now not have to pay.
It is a lot of money. It is a lot of money. Now, I don't know what the total, we can't know until it eventually gets announced at some point, what the total NIL budget is for Ole Miss and Mississippi State going into the 2026 season. Now, we know that Trinidad Chambliss by himself is making $6 million or is set to make $6 million. So I looked this up for the 2023-2024 fiscal year.
Is that $6 million for 1 year, by the way?
Yeah.
God.
So for Trinidad, like I said, it's about $250,000. If he was going to be in Mississippi for a couple more years, you multiply that, you compound that. So in 2023-2024, Ole Miss's NIL budget total was $8.8 million. So 8.8 plus Mississippi State's NIL budget, which was $6.4 million. You're talking about $15.2 million. $15,200,000.
A lot of money.
Times the 0.044 tax rate, you're talking about a total of just under $700,000 in NIL. Again, that was 2023-24. It's gone way up since then. So you're potentially talking about $1 million plus just between those two schools of lost state income tax. Now, if I'm an auto worker, if I am a mechanic, if I am a teacher, if I am literally anyone else living in the state of Mississippi, I am furious at my state representatives for pushing this through. Now, people all the time, for as long as America has been a thing, have voted against their own personal self-interests for whatever various reasons they choose to do so. But if you are an Ole Miss fan and you're not a multimillionaire Ole Miss fan, if you're just an average regular Joe making $50,000 a year or less, and you see your representative, your elected representative, telling you you've got to pay taxes, but the player that you're watching on Saturday is not going to pay any taxes on his $6 million NIL payout, I am furious.
Well, it sucks because they've already been given the money, right? And there's a lot of people, most people are not in favor of them already making the money to begin with. So
that's true.
Whether it's 4.4 or what is South Carolina, 6% state tax, I think it's personally bad on multiple fronts. The first thing, and you kind of mentioned this earlier in the segment, but think about this. They're going to have to pay the federal tax. So they'll hopefully somebody in their camp will guide them from a tax perspective on how to operate that. Sure. However, Diesel, when you have to pay taxes every year like I do, owning a small business, when most people get their taxes back, they get a tax refund. I have to, as a small business owner, pay taxes, right? So I don't get a refund. I pay every year. I think it's good for somebody who owns a small business, NIL athlete, whatever, to learn how to manage money so that when they're a 1099 or whatever it is, they understand that every dime they make shouldn't go directly into this. You've got to peel it back and save some here for taxes and whatever else. Are they getting those lessons when you basically completely get rid of one of these avenues where they can learn how to have to pay taxes, with it being the state taxes in Mississippi? I don't know. And I don't know. I think it's important. I don't know, number one, how many of these athletes, Diesel, that are making this ungodly NIL, number one, how many of them are being given good financial advice to begin with? And then number two, how many of them are being coached when it comes to taxes? Because
they're not going to econ class and getting coached in there.
No, so you're not like, while they're making all this bucos of money now, they're not learning anything. If they were learning, and I've said this about high schools, we talked about this last week at Ingles, Diesel, when you were out, I think high school students should be taught more in high school how to manage money and real life money situations instead of just being pushed to college. I just wonder how many of them are going to be given good advice.
Just think, man, you and I and all of our Tolos listening, we sat in geometry class. We learned about trapezoids and rhomboids and the sign of this formula, but they never taught us how to manage our own finances.
No.
I mean, come on. That is something that needs to be taught. And yeah, these, I think this sets these student athletes up for another bit of failure in the future, right? I mean, college is a little break from reality because you're for 4 years, you're living on campus. You've got a meal plan that mommy and daddy paid for that all you think is I go to the commissary or I go to the restaurant on campus and I swipe the card and I've got lunch for the day.
Yeah.
But that's not the reality for everybody else outside of that situation. You remember how hard it was when you left college and all of a sudden you don't have a cafeteria to go to on a daily basis. You are the cafeteria. Your kitchen and your refrigerator is the cafeteria. So I think this is setting these guys up for another rude awakening that one of these days I'm going to get a tax bill or I'm going to owe a lot more money in taxes and I'm not going to be prepared for that. Now, I don't know how the state of Mississippi or other states that have eliminated state income taxes, how they make up those budgetary shortfalls when you're not taking in state income taxes. But I do know that Arkansas has already implemented a similar exemption. This happened like a year ago or 2 years ago or so. Florida, Texas, Tennessee, all states that happen to be in the SEC, by the way. None of those states have state income tax either. So all the guys that are playing at Florida and Florida State and Texas and A&M and Tennessee and Vanderbilt, they're not paying state income taxes on their NIL money either. But I do wonder, Cole, if this is one of those things that starts in the SEC, one of those weird, you would never expect the SEC to be the reason why the state of South Carolina one day could have its income tax eliminated. I'll take it. I'll keep the 6% in my pocket. That'll be great.
Yeah.
But it'd be a really funny thing if that's how it happened.
And if this does go to the Senate and get passed through the Senate and signed off on by the Governor Diesel, I think what they're banking on, these representatives and these members who are pushing for this to happen, I don't know that they're looking at it from a standpoint of, well, we're losing millions of dollars. I think they're probably looking at it a standpoint of, hey, we're betting that $40,000 saved by a quarterback playing at Ole Miss is going to generate a fleet load of economic impact on a Saturday during October for a home game because this quarterback's playing in Oxford. And maybe that's I don't know that that's the logic they're using. I'm just thinking maybe it is.
But doesn't that get eliminated when Alabama eventually does the same thing?
Yeah.
Like I said, Florida, Texas, Tennessee, Arkansas have some similar form of this where players don't pay NIL state taxes on their NIL.
Yeah.
So, I mean, all you need is Alabama to start doing the same thing, Georgia to do the same thing, South Carolina to do the same thing. And now this exemption is meaningless because now you got every state in your conference or every conference team in your conference having the same exemption. So now it's not really a benefit anymore.
It is interesting.
If everyone can do it.
It is interesting to see and again, I think that's where we would like to, ask those in these positions of power. Hey, what's the reasoning for it? What are your motives here? What's the intention behind this? And I think it could be good. I think it could be bad.
Do you happen to have Jeremiah Donati's email address? I just want to know that one day will I be sending him a thank you email to say, thanks, Jeremiah. I'm so glad I don't have to pay state income tax anymore because you helped get it eliminated in this state so that those suckers over in Mississippi don't get the advantage on you.
Yeah, let me see. I can't find it. Let me look for his phone number. Snapchat. I think I have him on Snapchat.
Good.
Might have him on Snapchat. But, it is interesting, like a Texas versus a South Carolina from a tax perspective and how that applies to NIL funds that are paid out or even like rev share. I don't know how it affects rev share, but, Texas being a state you mentioned, like Florida that has no state income tax. So no tax on your salary, no tax on NIL income, no tax on bonuses, no tax on bonus or business income. So that's a huge advantage. It is a huge advantage. Oh, no tax on capital gains. It's a state level as well. And you talk about making $1 million in the state of Texas, which is probably on average out there what Texas players are making in NIL, to not have to pay $0. That's a lot, as long as it's being handled the right way.
And you got to hope then if you're a state legislator that the student athletes who are making that money in your state are spending that money in your state.
Yeah.
Because, I mean, think about it like this. If Trinidad Chambliss is saving $250,000 a year, if this passes, Trinidad Chambliss will save $250,000 in state taxes next year. What if he takes that $250,000, throws it in a bank account or a mutual fund or something outside of the state of Mississippi? You just gifted him money that gives you no state impact in return.
I wonder how it affects recruiting as well. Like if, if a coach is talking to a recruit that's choosing between Texas and South Carolina, and the coach says, well, Diesel, you can, if you're the player, Diesel, you can come here and you make $100,000 or $1 million, right? I'm going to offer you $1 million. You're a good quarterback in Texas. Guess what? You pay 0 in state income tax. In South Carolina, 6.4, 66,000, like you said, $60,000, $64,000. That's a huge difference. I just wonder if it's used, that's 20,000 more than Mississippi's 4.4. So those big numbers, I just wonder if they're being used in recruiting a little bit.
And now we're putting that extra element on a student athlete's brain trying to decide where he's going to go. It's, I could save the 50, 60, whatever $1,000 it is if I go to a school in Mississippi. Like, could that be the reason that a left tackle chooses to go to Mississippi State rather than South Carolina? Two schools that are sort of at the bottom end of the SEC. I can save,
or A&M. I mean, think about it. If you're in a recruiting battle with Carolina and A&M, this student athlete, if he's offered $1 million, just from going here to here, could save $64,000. That's a lot of money.
Yeah.
My biggest thing is I just wish, like, we are in this era of NIL, and I guess I have to live with it. I just wish they were putting as much emphasis on money management, because I know that I didn't, and Blake was talking about this on the stream as well. We didn't get that in high school. So in high school, we're pushed to college. But I, Diesel being 29 years old, I wish I had more financial guidance at a young age.
Oh, yeah.
And I hope the same for these athletes making $1 million. If I knew that 80% of these athletes that were going to make $1 million in NIL, or whatever the number is, were going to learn with that money how to budget and where to allocate that money and what index fund and all these different things, I'd feel good about it. But I just don't know how many stories we're going to see 5, 10, 15 years from now like we do in the NFL. Yeah. Did you see, by the way, a recent story where a big-time NFL player, and I'll put it in the Daily Wires, I'll find it during the break, a big-time NFL player that we all know just went bankrupt. So I hate stories like that.
Yeah, I mean, I remember thinking when NIL first became a thing that, I was thinking they need to put this money into a trust, and they need to require a completion of financial literacy courses before the student athlete gets access to that money, because you can't just give somebody, $5-10 million without any guidance on what to do and how to behave with that money.
And guess what? That's what we're doing. I mean, that is exactly what we're doing.
Yeah.
Hey, let's get into college basketball. Bronco Miller, Bracketeer.org, next. Time to talk a little college basketball right here on the Fan Upstate, as we do each and every Tuesday at this very time with Rocco Miller of Bracketeer.org. Simply the best when it comes to college hoops. Always appreciate your time, Rocco. I did want to bring up something and get your thoughts on a tweet that I retweeted earlier today, and you may have seen this already, Rocco, but one of our local journalists, Chapel Fowler, tweeted out some information regarding Clemson men's basketball. Brad Brownell, the head coach, obviously, in a conversation with A.D. Graham Neff, talking about how they're having final meetings right now to discuss how much money Clemson will have to pay portal players this offseason. He also reiterated a point that I want to get your thoughts on, Brownell did, where he said there are some challenges with men's basketball rev sharing, roster portal funding at Clemson, where about 86% of the school's rev sharing money goes to football. Brownell says he'll make suggestions, but ultimately that's Graham Neff's call. Rocco, is this a Clemson problem, or is this something that you think is a lot more common across the sport of college basketball when it comes to the amount of rev share dollars that they're given year in and year out?
That's a great question. I think it's unique a little bit. It's somewhere in between because you look at a place like Clemson, it's clearly football first. I mean, there's no ifs, ands, or buts or mysteries about it. So it's a football first athletic department. There's several like Clemson, throughout the Southeast. You could even look in the Big Ten at certain places. Ohio State comes to mind pretty quickly. You look even out here in the West where USC would be similar, and even where I'm from originally, Washington. Those are football first places. So if you do have extra rev share or a lion's share, it's got to go to football because your entire fan base is, not the entire fan base, but the so much revenue in the community and in the department is coming through from that one channel, and it's supporting nearly everything else. And now maybe men's basketball is a cost neutral. Maybe in some cases, in the SEC, it's a little bit profitable. If it is, not a whole lot. And so it's just the nature of the beast. It's the nature of the beast. And what's interesting is you have like the Big East, and to a smaller degree, you have like the Atlantic 10, and then out here in the West, we have Gonzaga, and we have the West Coast Conference like St. Mary's, where they don't have football, and all those big dollars are going to the hoops program. So maybe Brownell's frustration is in those types of examples. Obviously, when you're going up against Duke and North Carolina, specifically in hoops, they're getting more dollars towards basketball than football at those places from a percentage point of view. So again, it's just, you kind of just do a brainstorming exercise, and you could probably start to guess why Brownell's frustrated. Louisville, probably maybe like a 50-50. I do think there's probably a tiny bit more care about basketball than football. They've had great football under Brian Brom, but it's the care of basketball is a fever pitch in places like Kentucky and Louisville. So it's all based on the place, but at the same time, if your pie is bigger, then who cares about the percentage? You're still getting more money, right? So I think Clemson's focus as an athletic department is, even if it is just, the 14%, the 10%, whatever basketball is going to get, just keep growing that pie, and you'll still have more money than a good chunk of the ACC in that example.
Rocco, we saw Indiana win a national championship at football with $21 million in NIL. And, that honestly is not that much compared to what some of the other biggest programs, Ohio State and Texas, et cetera, Miami are spending on their football NIL. What do you think the number really is? Not to necessarily say if we spend this, we can almost guarantee ourselves a national championship in college basketball, but what is the highly competitive number? What does that need to be if you're Brad Brownell and saying this is what we need to have if you want us to take a step to be a highly competitive national program?
Well, if you want to try to get some of the elite talent, guys that are going for, $3 to $4 million a piece, you're going to need a budget north of $10 million. I think this year, this current season that we're finishing, there was probably somewhere around 20 teams that could say that. Just give or take, maybe a little short of that, maybe a little north of that. But I think next year those dollars are already getting set in stone and being offered around. And so that's where I think Brad's getting an idea of what he's going to need or what he would like to have. to be able to compete. I think he probably realizes somewhere inside that to be able to get the kind of money Duke, Carolina, and Louisville are getting is probably not realistic, but you would at least want to be able to keep up with like NC State, Florida State, Miami. I mean, Miami basketball's probably got a good amount of money coming in as well with the power of Jai Lucas. You know, he brought in great players as soon as he got hired. Big reason why he got the job, right? So yeah, I think that's what his concern is. I think Brad Brownell's built an entire career of winning on the margins and not having 5-star recruits, right? He's always built his teams through teamwork, chemistry, loyalty, returning players, etc. And so perhaps some of the fear is maybe not being able to keep the returning players if they are leaning towards entering the portal. You know, that could be part of the calculation there as well, to go public with the comments. But I don't know what else he can do because in reality, are you ever going to be able to have the kind of dollars that Duke and Carolina have? I don't think that's realistic. And it really never has in basketball. And so probably just trying to put together as much money as possible is the goal here. And then maybe hold on to the returning players he wants and have enough to be frisky in the portal. But obviously you have to realize if this is like a Major League Baseball comparison, you know, Clemson's probably something like similar to the Detroit Tigers or the Cleveland Guardians or something where, you know, they're not going to have Yankees or Red Sox money, but they could still build a good team and break through, you know, if it all breaks right. And that's where the focus probably is internally. He just can't say all that publicly.
That's a good comparison. I like that. As we're joined by Rocco Miller of Bracketeer.org right here on the Fan Upstate talking college hoops. If you have a question for Rocco, you can get it in on the Joy Law Firm text line 844-326-3663. Well, Rocco, that 8.5-point spread last night wasn't too troubling for the Duke Blue Devils going against NC State. I know, man, March is wacky. It's wild, but this Duke team's really good. We just saw them beat Michigan a couple of weeks ago. Can you somehow, some way convince me that Duke's not going to be playing for a national championship?
Well, it's interesting. I mean, I feel like that Michigan win really took them to a new level. You know, we've seen them take the court 3 times since then, and they handed Notre Dame the worst loss in 128 years the very next time out. Then the next time out, they played a really good Virginia team that's had an amazing 4-loss season and beat them by just 26. And now they go to NC State, who figures to still, they've had a rough run here lately, but NC State's still in the field, tournament level team. It's a road game. It's NC State's biggest game of the year, right? For a home game, they probably had it sold out since the preseason. And they go in there like it's nothing and toy with the Wolfpack, win by nearly 30. So yeah, I just feel like the confidence level is certainly at its peak right now. North Carolina to wrap up on Saturday. They lost to North Carolina last time. So of course you would imagine they're going to rev things up. And I think the other thing to keep in mind too is the Boozers, you know, obviously led by Cam, but of course Caden's been along with him through all levels of basketball. You just look at their high school resume, whether it was in high school ball or in summer ball. I think they've won every available championship in their life so far. And again, they're young freshmen. They haven't gotten into full college basketball season yet or NBA accolades yet. But these guys have won everywhere they've gone. And there's going to be a lot of expectations within themselves to lead these Blue Devils to the title. So it's a very difficult team, if you understand all that, to pick against later. So I don't want to pick against it. I don't think that'd be wise. But I do think there's some teams, you know, a rematch with Michigan could be really interesting. I think a frontline battle, another rematch with Florida. So if you remember Florida, they beat by 1 point in Cameron, and Florida had the lead with about 5 seconds to go, could have closed it out and had a bad bounce there, and Duke pulls it out by 1 point. But I think Florida would be licking their chops to try to play that team again. So the NCAA tournament, any question you want to ask about that, it's always about matchups. And there's a lot of teams that cannot match up with Duke. It'll be over quickly.
Yeah.
But once we get down to the Elite Eight, maybe even Sweet 16, and of course into the Final Four, we really will have some juicy matchups. So it's really hard to say if they'll get to the national championship or not. Last year's team was supposed to be far and away even just as dominant, I guess, comparing 1 versus 2, and they didn't get there. Yeah. So you just got to play the matchups, but this team looks very, very difficult to beat right now.
Talking to Rocco Miller of Bracketeer.org here on Wire to Wire with Diesel and Cole Bryson. when you talk about the Miami of Ohio situation, it really comes down to a head versus heart debate. And to me, one of the beautiful things about the NCAA basketball tournament, it allows you to have both, right? You get the heady conversation of which team is better statistically, but you also have the clear defined path of win your conference championship tournament and you're in. Obviously, you've been keeping up with the Bruce Pearl conversation over the last couple of days. Where do you come down on Bruce's interpretation of whether or not an undefeated Division I team should not get in because they had a very weak strength of schedule?
Well, I think it's pretty erroneous, to be frank. I think the bottom line is it's really hard to do what Miami, Ohio has done. And one of the tools that has been introduced, of course, here in the last year is the wins above bubble. You hear it talked about all the time now by the NCAA. You're actually starting to see it more. I had SportsCenter on last night after the Arizona game. They're actually talking about it now on there, and we're putting it up on our graphics over at Field of 68 for our shows. And the reason why it is popular and why the NCAA eventually adopted it is because every time you take the court, you get credit for something. Like even if you beat a bad team, you get 0.01 credit towards that overall decimal point, which is an accumulation metric, right? So it's so basic for fans to follow if they really want to follow it, because every time you take the court, you're either going forwards or you're going backwards. You lose, you go backwards. If you win, you go forwards. So a lot of this country, especially in the mid-major ranks, they're all well below zero. But all of these Miami, Ohio wins have now added all the way up to like 2.2 is the last time I looked at it on Monday. And that is good for 31st best in the country.
Wow. And
so that's what the committee is going to look at. If they get to the finish line undefeated, obviously they're going anyway because they'll have won the automatic bid. But they actually have a case to be a 7 or an 8 or even a 9 seed, somewhere in there. I've been projecting them as an 11, just assuming they might get more judged on like their KenPom ranking, which is in the 80s. But I think when it comes to just getting into the tournament, that tool is going to help a lot, because even if Miami, Ohio takes 2 losses, they'll go from like that 2.2 number. They'll take sizable drops because in the MAC, you're not playing good teams unless it's to Akron in the championship game. So they'll still end up above 0. Like they won't go to negative numbers. And right now, pretty much every team that's above 0 on my chart is getting in, if there might be 1 or 2 exceptions. So I think Miami, Ohio probably has wiggle room to lose twice. I don't want to promise that because the committee can do anything they want. The NCAA, it's their decision, and you have 12 voters. But I do think if they there's 2 things I will put my reputation on the line for. One would be if they finish the regular season with 2 wins and get to undefeated, I think they're in no matter what, because then all they can do is lose once in Cleveland, and that's it. And the other angle would be if they can get to if they lose once this week, I think a championship game appearance gets them in as well, because there is a precedent. If you get to 29 Division I wins in the history of the men's basketball selection process, and it really goes back only 30 years since we've had this many games to look at, every team with 29 wins or more has been selected. So they would be breaking a pretty important precedent to leave them out. So I really feel very comfortable that Miami, Ohio is getting in with one of those 2 scenarios, and we're down to the finish line now. So we're gonna know that pretty quickly.
So I know the winning your conference tournament is the only surefire lock way to get in. Help me out here, because I'm not sure of the rule here. Is it possible for the MAC to send their regular season champ instead of their conference tournament champ, or do they not have a choice in that?
They don't have a choice now. They would have to announce that, I think, before the season starts, or even last summer. You can't just change it. You can't move the goalposts in the middle of the season. So that is not an option at this point. So they will be sending their champion of the tournament, because they have a MAC tournament, right? They sell tickets to it. We know 8 teams are showing up in Cleveland, and we're doing quarterfinals, semifinals, and a title game. The winner of that is going to the dance. So yeah, the MAC, of course, they have to be feeling pretty good because as a conference, because if Miami, Ohio does fall, they have a pretty good shot to get 2 teams in, and that's basically double the money for the league. So I think they're feeling pretty good about running a tournament.
Rocco, my last question for you, man. We talked about this yesterday, but on the women's side, an incredible feat yet again from UConn, 31-0, 47 consecutive games, and it's the 11th unbeaten season for UConn. We all know what Gino's done and how incredible it's been. Would you say that there is any feat, anything that's been done on the men's side in the history of the sport that can compare to the amount of success Gino and the girls team have had under him in his tenure at UConn?
I mean, the only thing that comes to mind, probably the obvious one, right? John Wooden at UCLA. I mean, just they went on a streak, I think, where they won 88 in a row. Do I have that right? When they finally lost in the Astrodome to the Houston Cougars, in whatever year that was in the 70s, it was before I was born. But yeah, like UCLA's run was something my dad told stories to me about going to bed when I was a kid, and absolutely dominant, winning all those championships, 11 national championships. So I guess that would be my best comparison. I don't have all the UConn women's stats in front of me, unfortunately, but I think that's pretty high praise if he's even close to what John Wooden achieved in Westwood.
Rocco, I'm going to give you the resume, and you may know this team because I know you're so plugged in on all this stuff, but I won't give you the team's name, okay? 15-14 overall, 5-11 in quad 1 games, 2-2 in quad 2 games, and a combined 8-1 in quad 3 and 4 games. Is that a tournament team in your mind, and do you know who I'm talking about?
First question, absolutely no. It's not a tournament team, and absolutely yes, I know who you're talking about. It's War Eagle, the Auburn Tigers.
Okay.
And
we had a texter ask, what do they have to do to get in at this point?
Yeah, honestly, I think the Auburn thing is so simple right now because there's another precedent I can bring up here, a pretty important one. No team that's had more than 15 losses has got in, and you have to assume Auburn's going to lose in the SEC tournament. So that would be loss number 16 if they lose one of these next two. So I think the formula here is Auburn goes and beats LSU. That's a must. And then that win at Alabama will also not only be a win to get them to 17-14, but it will also just be an amazing road win for the resume to go along with the road win at Florida. And I think that game at Alabama, if they beat LSU today, that game at Alabama is for Auburn's season. Because of that, the math just got really, really clear for us here after that loss to Ole Miss. So I think if they go and win these two this week, they're in. If they lose either one of them, they're out.
Rocco, you're the man as always. We appreciate you, and we'll talk to you next week.
My pleasure, fellas. Thanks again. It was fun.
Absolutely. Rocco Miller, Bracketeer.org. That guy's just an encyclopedia. He knew he didn't. You couldn't stump him on the Auburn. I mean, I know that was Shane Barrett probably that texted it as well, right? Look, I think I agree with him. Auburn's lost too many, but my gosh, his wealth of knowledge is awesome. I can't wait. I'm super pumped up for
that.
March.
Said, you can't be that far below 500 against quad 1 teams and tell me that is a team that has to get an at-large spot in the tournament. You just simply can't tell me that.
That's a good point.
When we come back, Cole, let's do our whip around the sports world. Take a look over the fence, see what's happening in other sports as well. Our Daily Wires coming up next.
This is Wire to Wire with Cole, Bryson, and Diesel on the Fan Upstate.
Tolos, what's happening in the sports world? We cover all of it in one segment called our Daily Wires, The Buzz. It's game day for Brad Brownell and the Clemson Tigers as they're on the road at number 17, North Carolina. Dangerous even without their star player. Cole, tip set for 7 o'clock. As soon as we finish up the show here today, the Tar Heels favored by 3.5, hosting Clemson.
I think they win. I want Brad Brownell and Clemson to get it done tonight, but I just don't have a good feeling.
It
Not
would
up
go
there.
a long way if they get that win.
Oh, it'd be huge.
Way.
Huge win. I mean, huge. It would much needed, but I just don't see it.
Got to give equal time to the Gamecocks as well. Cole, the 12-17 Gamecocks host number 23 Tennessee tonight. The Vols favored by 9.5 in Columbia.
Oh, cover.
They'll cover.
BTH on that.
Yeah.
BTH.
Oh gosh, belt to what?
No. Bet the house. Bet the house.
BTA stands for something.
That's
else.
right.
Gotcha.
Bet the house on the Vols tonight. Sorry, Gamecock. Sorry.
But both of those things are going to happen in Columbia. Speaking of spreads, 8.5 points, no problem for Duke.
Woo.
They easily covered the spread last night against NC State. I tuned in to watch the first half, said, okay, that's enough. Didn't even bother with the second half.
Ugly.
93-64. They claimed the regular season ACC title, Cole. And I saw yesterday the number. I'll get it here in just a second. Duke has now spent a total of like 167 weeks as the AP number one team in the country.
Pretty good.
That's all in, all
time.
combined.
Yeah.
That is a big number for the Duke Blue Devils, and I'll have that number for you here in just a moment. The number, sorry, I don't have it. Let's move on. The number 2 Arizona Wildcats made easy work of Iowa State yesterday. They took down the Cyclones 73-57, outright won the Big 12. They were absolutely fantastic. Number 1 and number 2 teams trounced their opponents by a combined 45 points.
That's a lot.
Yeah.
That's a lot of points.
That is a lot. You would think that maybe some of these teams could give them some competition down the stretch. The number, by the way, 149. Duke has spent a total of 149 weeks at number 1 in the AP top 25. Let's see here, Cole. The Atlanta Falcons will play across the pond this year. They'll play a game in Madrid. They announced that this morning. The game will be played in Bernabeu, the home of Real Madrid, and is part of the multi-year partnership with the city of Madrid to host games.
Everybody stands up and cheers because another NFL game's going overseas. Yay, we're so excited. We love it. Send them all over, right?
I get to save 15% on my season ticket?
So stupid. I hate this.
If they, at some point, they need to just have an NFL Europe division. Just have 4 teams in Europe and have them play there and add an extra game to the season. So you quit screwing over American fans.
And I talked about this last week when you were gone. They announced San Francisco's going over to play a game across the pond as well, and it might be Seattle. Think about this. San Francisco and Seattle, a huge, maybe one of the biggest rivalries in the NFL. Their fans, not too far to go to a game, whatever. How many hours that is? Shipping that game overseas. That is a slap in the face.
Would they fly west or would they fly east?
I don't know. I wouldn't get on a plane to begin with. Screw the NFL and I'm moving all these freaking games, man.
Some NFL trade news here for you. If you didn't know, free agency starts next Wednesday at 4 p.m. Eastern. Teams can start contacting players on Monday at noon in what the NFL calls its legal tampering period. If it's legal, then it's not tampering, right? One would think that makes sense. But 9-time Pro Bowl pass rusher Khalil Mack, who had considered retirement, will play in 2026. He is set to be an unrestricted free agent for the second time in his 12-season career. The Chargers would love to have him back.
There's a lot of big-time free agents, Diesel. I think this free agency, when it opens here in a few weeks, I think it's going to be spicy. Really, really spicy.
The Vikings, who are $43 million over the cap, are open to trading outside linebacker Jonathan Grenard.
Yeah, they better be for $43 million over.
Way
better trade anybody.
The Commanders are set to release corner Marshawn Lattimore, and they'll save $18.5 million against the cap if they do so. They're in the opposite boat, though. They have a lot of cap space. They have the 5th most cap space available in the NFL.
That's
so I would
big.
imagine them to be buyers.
Yeah, they need to be. They need, after a disappointing year last year, they definitely need to be.
The Texans are acquiring running back David Montgomery in a trade with the Lions for offensive lineman Juice Scruggs and 2 draft picks. The Lions will receive a 2026 4th-round pick and a 2027 7th-round pick. The Kansas City Chiefs informed right tackle Jawan Taylor that he will be released before the NFL League's new year. Barring a trade, the move will save the Chiefs $20 million against the cap and will allow them to be under the cap when the league starts.
Big time.
When the league year starts on the 11th. Bad news, Braves fans. We talked about this to start the show. Atlanta DH Jurickson Profar is facing a 162-game suspension after testing positive for PEDs a second time. Recall, he missed the first half of last year for testing positive for PEDs.
Lovely.
Yeah.
Love it.
Can't wait to start talking about how bad the Braves are. Whew. Miami of Ohio head coach Travis Steele has been fined $2,500 by the league and will have to replace the arena DJ's equipment in Western Michigan after his tirade where he broke some equipment. The MAC statement said he violated the conference's sportsmanship policy. Bad news for South Carolina fans here. 2-year starting left tackle Josiah Thompson is out for the 2026 season with a lower body injury. Haven't seen the exact cause or what the injury was yet. They're just listing it now as lower body.
Can't catch a break, man.
Cannot. The Metropolitan leading Hurricanes fell on the road last night at Seattle 2-1. I was tweeting at the Hurricanes. Believe it or not, they didn't respond. I said, man, I'd love to watch your game that's 2,000 miles away from where I'm seated right now, but I can't watch it on a platform that I've already paid for because you guys have blacked it out. Tonight at 7 o'clock, the Hornets will try to reach 500 against the Mavericks. They haven't been 500 since game 4 of the season. The Hornets are favored by 13.5.
Let's go.
Yeah.
Let's go, Charlotte.
And last one here for you. The Arnold Palmer Invitational at Bay Hill in Orlando starts on Thursday. Mr. PXG Joel Damon tees off first at 7:40 a.m. with a total purse of $20 million.
A lot of money. A lot of money. Tolos, let's go to both ends of the spectrum in the next segment for March Madness. Cinderella versus the Blue Bloods. Who will be left standing? Let's take an early look. Early predictions next. Well, whether it was George Mason in 2006 or the Davidson Wildcats in 2008, maybe it was the VCU Rams for you in 2011. What about Florida Gulf Coast, the Eagles in 2013? Everyone loves a good Cinderella. Maybe it's Loyola Chicago or St. Peter's, but let's take a look, Diesel, on both ends of the spectrum in this very segment. Who are some Cinderellas that we could see making a run? And then on the other end of the spectrum, who are the Blue Bloods that will be the mainstays in the Final Four, in the Elite Eight? We'll take a look at that. And Tolos, we want to hear from you as well when it comes to Cinderellas and mainstays, Blue Bloods in college basketball, 844-326-3663. Also, big reminder, I know we made this announcement earlier in the show when our signal was down, but Diesel and I have both joined. You, Tolos, have joined. This bracket challenge is posted on our website or Twitter and Facebook, rather, at the Fan Upstate. You need to get in. If you want the link directly, you can text the Joy Law Firm text line. I will send you the link to join. Just ask for the link to join on the Joy Law Firm text line at 844-326-3663. I don't remember, Diesel, how many we had last year, but I think it was a good bit. How many should we set our goal at? Did we have over 100 last year? I don't know that we had over 100. Could we get over 100 this year, you think?
Well, last year it helped that we had 2 shows on the station and they tried to bombard and take over.
And they didn't work. We
didn't
won.
work. We still won the thing.
Yep.
But we do want all of those Tolos to jump in and play again, because now you're all Tolos, no matter what transgressions you may have committed in the past. You are all Tolos now. I'd love to get 100. That'd be huge.
So as of right now, we just created the league, and we have 9 as of right now. Like, we literally just created it. You can find the link to join on our Facebook and Twitter page, or again, if you text the show, I'll send you the link, 844-326-3663. I agree with you. Can we get to 100, Diesel? I don't think it's too much to ask to get to 100, but we have, 12 days or so before we can fill out the bracket, so we'll publicize it every day. Oh, that's good, 10 a day.
I'd love to get 10 a day.
We've already got 9 today, so there's a good start. Let's see if we can get 10 more today. I know a lot of you are just getting off of work, getting in your car, getting in the truck, heading home. Let's see if we can get 10. The link is online. And again, if you want me to text it to you, just text the show and ask for the link on the Joy Law Firm text line, 844-326-3663. I cannot wait. Diesel, it's one of the most, I know it's a worldwide thing almost, it feels like, or a nationwide thing. Filling out brackets, there's just something about it. It's fun.
Yeah.
You know that there's, like we talked about last year, there might not be much strategy that actually works. Just like the Upset Picks Challenge.
You can put all kinds of logic and thought in ways that make a lot of sense. You can make a compelling case for why you think this team will beat that team, and then it all just gets blown up on the first day.
I love it, Tolos.
Or you can put no work into it and make a deep run.
That's what a lot of people do.
Yeah, right.
Right? Like you just pick, they're pretty colors. So I'm going to pick Loyola Chicago because they're yellow.
Meeny, miny, mow it. Whatever.
Right? Because they're yellow and white. That's pretty. So get in on the bracket challenge, Tolos, if you haven't done so already. Still a lot to get to on the show today. Michael Cross, the commissioner of the SoCon, will join the show in the very next segment to preview the tournament happening this weekend. Diesel and I will be live on location Monday in Asheville for the SoCon Championship. Diesel, we were very fortunate a year ago to have a big local fan base with Wofford and Furman playing in the championship. I don't know that will happen 2 years in a row, but that was a lot of fun last year, having those 2 local teams in it like that. I think ETSU might have something to say about that this year, but tournament coming up in Asheville next Monday. We should get there a little early, find us a good Asheville spot. Yeah. I love Asheville, man. It's a cool little place. Cool little spot.
I always end up going to Mellow Mushroom, but I know that's not the best place in Asheville.
That's your Asheville go-to?
It's my go-to, right? Like you come into town, you take a right, and it's right there.
I like Mellow Mushroom. You just heard one of their ads right here on the Fan Upstate a minute ago.
Big sponsors of the show. We
Yeah,
appreciate them.
I love Mellow Mushroom. I do. I'm a Mellow Mushroom guy. Before we get Diesel into the college basketball conversation where we go to both ends of the spectrum and look at some potential Cinderellas versus who we think the mainstays will be in the tournament when you boil it all down to the Elite Eight. Let's go to the phone lines, 844-326-3663. Tom in Somerville wants to join the conversation. What's up, Tom?
Hey, guys. So, I got to put my seatbelt on. I know y'all talked about this throughout the years about the South Carolina High School League. And I was talking to a buddy of mine, and, he works at a Lizard's Thicket in Columbia. And he was telling me that because apparently the guy stepped down or retired, or I don't know.
Jerome Singleton.
I don't follow it. Yeah. Well, they were supposed to have some big meeting the other day, and
yesterday, 4.5 hours.
Yes. Okay. Well, my buddy that works at Lizard's Thicket, he was telling me that they had this massive catering order for the South Carolina High School League this week. And they had about, 50 pieces of fried chicken, about 3 large pans of macaroni and cheese, green beans, cabbage, mashed potatoes. I said, daggone, what do I got to do to eat like that? And how do I get on the high school board? Because if they're eating like that, that's what I need to start doing with my free time.
So what you're saying is there was no meeting. They were eating lunch that entire time for 4.5 hours?
I mean, if you give somebody 50 pieces of chicken, it's going to take, a little bit of time to eat that much.
Sounds less like a meeting and more like a going away party.
Yeah.
Because it was predetermined that he was going to step down.
The Last Supper is what it feels like, right?
Yeah, that's what it sounds like. I said, I just want to get a part of the supper. I don't care if it's the Last Supper. Just send me a plate my way. I'll go to any board meeting I need to.
Dewey on the YouTube stream, by the way, says Tom should be fired for not wearing a seatbelt.
Hey, my seatbelt is on now. Okay.
Now, keyword.
I just got in the truck, had to make the phone call, and hadn't had a chance to put it on yet, Dewey. But it is on now.
Well, Tom, you might want to pull over here. Have you heard the news about the Braves and the new challenge they're going to face this year?
Diesel, you do not want to know what my actual thoughts are.
Yes, we do.
Yeah, we do.
Yes, we do.
Uh-huh.
Yes, we do.
Yeah. Profar, 162 games, PEDs.
Okay. Well, I'm going to try to keep this as PG as possible. Let's just say, back when you're a kid, you make dumb mistakes, back in the day, your parents used to, spank you, beat you, whatever you want to call it. So that you would learn not to make that same mistake again. We haven't even gotten into the season yet. He's coming off a suspension. He said in an interview 2 weeks ago that he had learned from his mistake. Well, doesn't look like he learned from his mistake. And the best part about all of this, and I hope that the appeal gets denied because they're going to appeal it. I don't want it to get approved because if it gets approved and he plays and he's not good or he gets hurt, well, then the Braves got to pay him. If he stays suspended, the Braves ain't got to pay him. So I think he deserves to be taught a lesson. I think he should be suspended for 162 games because I don't care if he did it on purpose or if it was some mistake where he didn't know what he was putting in his body. You are a professional athlete coming off a suspension. So whatever you're putting in your body, you got to triple, quadruple, check 5 times to make sure that there is not one ingredient on that list that you're putting in your body that would get you suspended again. And this moron goes right back out there, does the same exact thing, and now he's going to be suspended for the whole year. And on top of that, the Braves have proven We're not going to go get anybody worth a darn. We're just going to wait. We're going to call up Adam Duvall in June. He's only 45 years old. He's probably got a couple more swings in him. He'll be the DH. He'll carry us till August. Then he'll get hurt. They'll call somebody up in the minors, and we'll be miserable for the rest of the year. But then football season will get here, and we won't care anymore.
Tom, I feel the same way you do. I say cut them, let them walk, make them pay the money back if we have to pay them. I agree with you.
Yeah, I mean, literally, guys, somebody said on Twitter today, this is the worst signing in Braves history. You know, between him and Dan Uggla, I don't know. But if the Braves can get off of this without owing him anything else, it may have ended up being a blessing in disguise. Send him on his way. Send him to Guantanamo Bay. I don't care where he goes, but he will not play for the Atlanta Braves.
Thanks, Tom. Guantanamo Bay.
Did he have to
Jerickson Pro 40 Guantanamo?
Sounded like he had to get out of his car to keep from breaking something. You heard the doo-doo-doo. That means he's driving a Ford.
Yeah.
He had to get out of the car to make sure he didn't smash his steering wheel or punch his dashboard.
Guantanamo Bay. That's an all-time classic from Tom. All right, Diesel, I've got some candidates. Let's start with the mainstays of the Blue Bloods when it comes to the teams that can win it all this year, because I think there are just over a handful of teams that really, really have a good shot to win it all. I've given you three choices here. They're highlighted in green. From you and the Tolos, I want either surefire, which means, that team's gonna be playing for a national championship, right? Even though you can use more than two. Should be playing in the Final Four national championship, or I don't know. I don't know about this team. These are 8 teams that I want to throw at you because I think a few of these 8 might be surefire. Let's start with the team that got beat badly last night. Iowa State, the Cyclones, Diesel, in 6 games before Monday's loss to Arizona, they were 70th in adjusted offensive efficiency. You look bad on Saturday to Texas Tech, who was very injury-bitten, by the way. Got beat bad last night. They've got some dudes. But where would you place Iowa State when it comes to being one of the mainstays at the end of the tournament that we watch in the national championship, Final Four, maybe even the Elite Eight, and that team's going to be there? Where would you go with the Cyclones?
I think Iowa State is an Elite Eight kind of team. I don't know where exactly that would fall. Does that fall in the should, or does that fall in the mid category?
Yeah, I say should. Yeah.
I think that, they played in a really tough conference, right? They played in the Big 12. They have some good wins this season. They're 24-5 or something like that on the season. So they're a really, really good basketball team. Do I think they're Final Four good? Would I say that Iowa State, and it all depends on, where you're seated and who you're matched up against. Do I think Iowa State's gonna get in to the Final Four over a UConn or a Michigan or a Florida if they have to match up against them? No, I don't think that. So I think Iowa State's ceiling is probably an Elite Eight appearance.
Yeah, and you know what? I could see Iowa State getting bounced like in the Sweet 16. I think they're a good team. You said it. They played a tough schedule. I don't think they're elite. I think they're somewhere between should and meh for me. Not talking about like a meh team, but when it comes to being one of the mainstays when it's all said and done, I'm going to go somewhere between should and meh. Well, I want to go ahead.
They do struggle against teams that play really good defense, right? If you can hold them below about 75 points, which is good, but not amazing defense. It's really good defense. If you can hold them to 75 points, you have a really good chance of beating them.
They got bullied last night.
73-57.
All right, what about Florida? The Gators didn't lose, Diesel, their third straight game. Excuse me, the Gators didn't lose their third game of the season until February 1st a year ago, right? And then what happened the next year, they go on to win a championship. They did need a little bit longer of a runway this year to hit their climax, to hit their peak. Again, we've talked about it. They started off ranked, and then they went unranked for a few weeks. They came back. Now, all of a sudden, they're top 5. Very good basketball team. Xavier Lee, incredible player. Flan's awesome. They've got the national championship pedigree, having won it a season ago. Florida, I think, is one of the more intriguing storylines because of how well they've played lately. When it comes to the mainstays, though, talking Final Four, national championship, are they meh, should, or surefire?
I'm putting them in the should category right now.
I like that.
Because they've got, 7 guys on that team that are going to give you 10 points a night. And if you get to that point, you have a really, really good chance to go on a deep run. I mean, they don't have guys falling off the way that Clemson has. Clemson had that for the first half of the season, and then they've fallen off, and they've lost the ability to have 5-6 guys give them double figures. I think this Florida team should be in the Final Four.
They should. And man, I'm telling you, just on what I've seen recently, maybe I'm a victim of recent weeks, Diesel. I think they might be teeter-tottering on that surefire. I just like they look good. And having that championship pedigree, it matters. Could they get ousted early? Sure. I mean, upsets happen. That's why it's March Madness. But it does feel like Florida's kind of hitting all the right notes at the right time. And it seems like this well-oiled machine could make another deep run. I don't know that they win back-to-back. I think a Duke-Florida national championship would be unbelievable. I mean, you talk about 2 big blue bloods, right? 2 really good teams. But Todd Golden has this team in the right spot at the right time.
God, Florida and North Carolina, a team in Florida and a team in North Carolina. What are all the New Yorkers who are moving down this way going to do? Who are they going to cheer for?
It's true. All right, let's go. This one's easy. Duke. I mean, we thought surefire. Like I asked Rocco Miller to convince me that they're not going to be playing for a national championship. Diesel, we talked about brackets a minute ago. If I had to fill out my bracket right now at this very moment, Duke's playing for the national championship, and they might be winning it, depending on how their matchups are. Cameron Boozer, this guy, 22.5 points per game, 10 rebounds a game. He shoots 40% from behind the arc at 6'9". Think about that. He's 6'9", 250, shooting 40+% from three-point land. His offensive rating by itself is a 134.3, which was higher than Cooper Flagg's offensive rating was last year. I am just right now on the 3rd of March, and something could change. I'm as sold on Duke Diesel as any other team in college basketball right now.
They've just got so much firepower on this team. It's hard to look and say they're not going to cakewalk to the Elite Eight, and then things start to get more difficult at that point. I just don't see a whole lot of teams that can beat them because they have faced the best of the best in the past few weeks, and they've looked really good against them. So I don't think there's any reason to believe that this is not a finals-worthy team right now. Today.
Real quick. Let's find an underdog that could be a Cinderella before we run to a break and are joined by the commissioner of the Big South. Winthrop's a good team. California out of the ACC. Maybe it could be considered a Cinderella or maybe a SMU out of the ACC. I think they've got some talent. Maybe a Nebraska type out of the Big Ten. But could Miami of Ohio shut us all up, Diesel, and make that Cinderella run? Because if they did make a run, it would definitely be Cinderella-ish, right? But could they do it? Are they battle-tested enough? Do we believe that Miami of Ohio is good enough to be a Cinderella? That's a tough one.
So Rocco told us that he had them as high as a 7 seed, but he also saw him, down there at an 11 seed. Yeah. That's a tough matchup right there. I mean, you're going to get somebody who is bigger than you, faster than you, deeper than you. So you're going to have to rely on vibes to go and win this thing. That's a tough ask for Miami. I hope for their sake that they are in regardless of whether they win the MAC championship or not, but that they can get a win in the tournament. If you can get a win in the tournament, it validates your entire season. It shuts all these people up. You can be like, hey, look, Purdue lost in the first round, but Miami of Ohio advanced. Clearly, they were a good basketball team. I would just hate for them to be a one and done.
Me too.
It would be really, really unfortunate. When we come back, let's talk to the man, Michael Cross, the Southern Conference Commissioner, as we're just days away from the Women's Southern Conference Tournament kicking off here in just a few days, and also a little bit farther away from the men's basketball tournament as well. We'll jump on Talk SoCon with Michael Cross next.
With Diesel and Cole Bryson on the Fan Upstate.
Talking SoCon sports with the commissioner of the Southern Conference, Michael Cross, joining the show here for the very first time. Michael, we appreciate your time. Great to have you on. You're in your third year as commissioner of the Southern Conference. Before that, you spent 8 years with Penn State. Now, this might not have been a fair question to ask you at your 3 months on the job, Mark, but now that you're 3 years in, how do those two roles compare? A gigantic university like Penn State and a smaller mid-major conference.
Hey, Cole, good to be with you. And it's a fair question and a good one, and one I get asked a lot. What I would say is that, the differences are myriad, and there's a couple things. One, being on a campus is incredibly different from being on a conference office. On a campus, you're shoulder to shoulder with athletes and coaches and donors. And in a conference office, you're in a much different role. You're dealing with corporate sponsors, you're working with presidents directly, and you're dealing with a lot of governance issues and championship and fairness type issues. So very, very different. You've got I think an ability to have a greater impact on the national stage than you do on a campus for the most part. And, you're working with a lot more sports. We have 20 sports in the Southern Conference. At Penn State, I worked with 6. And so you've got a broader portfolio as far as those things go. So very, very different and very different roles for sure.
Michael, when you look at the Southern Conference and the basketball, especially with the tournament being in Nashville this weekend, and we were there last year, we'll talk to you again on Monday as we'll be live on location just like last year. But, man, you look at all the competition across the conference, just so deep. And unfortunately, there are a lot of one-bid leagues across college basketball. We talked about it with Miami of Ohio, a team that's undefeated in the sport, but somehow, some way, according to the experts out there, if they were to trip up in the conference tournament and not win the conference tournament, they could be left out. When you look at it from a big picture standpoint, how difficult is it as the commissioner to only have one of those institutions get in?
Well, I think that the thing that's difficult is it puts our institutions in a situation where they've got to make some interesting choices about how they allocate their resources. What has happened in the NIL era is that a lot of conferences, and you mentioned, there's lots of single bid conferences. There are conferences out there right now that are spending millions and millions of dollars additional to pay athletes, revenue share, those types of things. And they're still single bid conferences. So what has happened across the college athletics landscape, honestly, from, the ACC, the SEC, the Big Ten on down, is everyone is spending a lot more money for the same results. There's only going to be one national champion. We're only going to have, one conference champion for each of our conferences. And then you're fighting over a very limited number of at-large bids. And we're spending a heck of a lot more money than we used to do it. And that's not to say that there's a problem with, what's happening. I mean, athletes have the opportunity to take advantage of their name, image, and likeness, but, we've turned into a quasi-professional model as it relates to compensation with athletes. And, at the end of the day, there's still a winner and a loser in every game that we play, and we're only crowning one champion. So you've got to be aware of what the return on that investment is going to be. And at the end of the day, 9 of our 10 schools aren't going to have that postseason opportunity. And you've got to be conscious that we aren't all spending ourselves into oblivion trying to be that one school to the detriment of the other sports that we have on our campuses.
Michael, why does it make sense for mid-major conferences, the traditional one bids, to continue operating under the structure that the winner of the conference tournament is the representative for that conference in the NCAA tournament? Why continue having the randomness and the anything could happen nature of conference tournaments be the litmus test for getting in over a 30-game schedule for however many conference members you have that I think is probably a much more accurate picture of who the best team in your conference is?
Yeah, it's a good question. It's a really good question. I came from the Ivy League. I was there for 10 years. Most of my time, and actually all of my time in the Ivy League, we had that model that you're talking about, where the regular season champion was the representative to the NCAA tournament. And inevitably, one of the challenges that you have is that you may have situations with injuries, those types of things where you don't get necessarily an accurate read of who is truly your best team. Similarly, you could have a situation where somebody's just one game behind. Maybe they beat them twice during the regular season, but stumbled with some others. So, I think that piece alone says a conference championship tournament makes sense. There's clearly an economic opportunity around this. The fans that will come out to this event over the next 4 or 5 days between our men's and women's championships are going to have an incredibly good time. And it's a great experience for our athletes. And when we talk about what we do as a conference, we talk about the experience for our athletes. We talk about the exposure for our institutions. And we talk about, the revenue and expense columns as it relates to the things we do and making sure that the budgets are balanced and we're trying to grow the revenue side. So from an experience and exposure standpoint, I guarantee our athletes will tell you there's nothing better than a tournament. And the exposure piece, our championship games will be on ESPN, our semifinals will be on ESPN, and then all of our preceding games, the quarterfinals, the early rounds, those will be on ESPN+. So, those exposure opportunities are lost without a conference championship, and you're really not in the national conversation if you don't have that tournament. So there's a lot of reasons to do it. Your point is a good one for sure, and noted. But I think, if you asked our coaches and our administrators, they'd be really reluctant to abandon what is a really special experience here in Asheville.
Michael, I like that exposure answer because it definitely is important. Are there anything, or is there anything that, as the commissioner of the SoCon, you can point to and try to find the return on the investment there from having teams within your conference get that exposure? We've seen Wofford and the others go on deep runs in the tournament in years past and being on big national stage. Is there anything that you can actually attribute that exposure to, and maybe days, weeks, years down the road see some of that return?
Yeah, I would say the place I would point to would be our championship game last year. And we had a fantastic final between Furman and Wofford. And those two teams, I believe, nationally, I think we had about 650 or 700,000 people watch that game.
Wow.
I mean, that's a really good number of people who are learning about, hearing about, those two institutions, as well as the whole conference and all 10 members. And, those types of things, we work really hard with the broadcast teams. In those early rounds, we've got people who are very familiar with our programs, telling the stories of our campuses, talking about the academic quality, talking about the locations and the majors and all those types of things that, people who are sports fans and people who are alumni of those institutions are hearing about their schools, telling that story, spreading the gospel of their institutions. And, so those are really valuable, particularly at a time when people are trying to fundraise, and particularly at a time when people are looking for undergraduate students to enroll in their institutions. So it's a great opportunity for all of our schools. We have the PSAs that go into those broadcasts, and all of the compounding effects of those things ultimately, we believe, make that exposure very worthwhile. And obviously, the further you go in the championship, and the further you go in the NCAAs, the more eyeballs and social media posts and all those types of things, articles are written that continue to increase the brand awareness of our institution. So we think that value is tremendously high.
Talking to Michael Cross, the Southern Conference Commissioner. Michael, you've had 3 years now to tour the conference, be at every basketball venue, maybe multiple times. I'm going to put you in a tight spot here, but I'm also going to give you an opportunity to gas up the local schools if you want to, because we are incredibly fortunate to have two world-class arenas here. But based on vibes alone, what's your medal stand of your 3 favorite arenas to catch a game in as a sports fan in the Southern Conference?
Oh, you're killing me. Look, I would say a couple things. One, that can vary from institution to institution. And one of the things that drives that is attendance. So you could take any of our 10 institutions, and with the right matchup and the right environment and the right opponent and the right setting, all of our buildings are fantastic. So that piece is a very real thing for sure. I mean, whether, I don't know what people's preferences are out there in terms of buildings, but that's a real factor. You can put them in a high school gym, you could play it in a barn, you could play it in the park. Like, you get the right setting and environment and meaning of the game, and that issue takes care of itself. From there, I think some of this depends on what you're looking for. But, look, since we're talking upstate South Carolina here, I mean, Wofford and Furman have really, really well-designed, well-conceived facilities that, we had a chance to see in both those cases. When those buildings are full, they really show out well. Chattanooga and the Roundhouse is great. Sanford has, really nice facility. I mean, I can go down the list. All of our schools have really good spaces and places. And, Mercer, when it's bumping, is really good. Greensboro's made the decision to move back on campus, and that environment is a really, really tough place to play. VMI and the Citadel, particularly when they're playing each other, are incredibly intense environments. And, I'm trying to think of who I haven't mentioned here yet. Mercer and Western are probably the other two. I mean, all of them have great settings. I mean, they really do a nice job. If you're looking for me to pump up the local environment, there's no doubt Furman and Wofford have nice buildings, and they should be incredibly proud of the spaces they have, for sure.
I was waiting for all that being said, the obvious answer is Furman and Wofford.
Well, I gave you what I think would be a fair answer, that when this is broadcast over and over, people will go, well, geez, all he said was those two. But look, they're really nice. I mean, Furman made an incredible investment, and Wofford's building is absolutely a beautiful setting. So, all of our campuses are nice. I love going to all of our cities. You mentioned the travel around the conference. I mean, I think last year I drove like 27,000 miles across, the Southern Conference footprint. Like, I'm out there. I love going to the buildings, and it's not just basketball. It's the football settings and the football environments. It's volleyball, it's softball, it's baseball. The footprint of our conference and the tight geographic nature of it really serves us well, and gives our fans a chance to appreciate and understand the close rivalries. And it's one of the strengths of our conference that we really like to lean on and talk about when we talk about the Southern Conference.
Michael, why is it still so attractive for the Southern Conference Tournament in basketball to be held in Nashville? Obviously, we see the turnouts every year, especially in that championship game. But what makes it an attractive destination year in and year out for you guys?
Well, there's a lot of things. The success of Asheville is driven by a few factors. One, there's a history and tradition here. I mean, we've been here close to 25 years collectively, not consecutive, but over the two different runs we've had here. We just signed a 10-year extension to be in Asheville. And there's a few things that make this tournament go really well. One, the building itself. I mean, if you want to talk about the building, the management of this building and the in-game environment, it is a loud, tight, hot building. Like, this is an old building that contains the sound, puts the fans right on top of the court. And, people really love that experience. The second thing is that it's very, very difficult to find a downtown building of this size. And there's very few championships that have been able to do this. And the downtown piece is key, because you get out of your car, you get to your hotel, and you're walking around town for 2, 3, 4 days. You're going to the restaurants, you're going to the bars, you're shopping, you're having an experience, you're having a vacation-like experience, and you're supporting the teams, and you're seeing, the pole banners, you're seeing, fans from other places, you're having good conversations with friends and strangers, and there's people who come back year after year. So the tradition that's been established here is, a rarity in college athletics. And again, it's facilitated by our geography, and Asheville is pretty close to the geographic center of our entire conference. So people keep coming back, and we're glad they do. There's very few others that I think compare to this. I think the Big East is obviously going to be, incredibly notable with Madison Square Garden, the world's most famous arena. And St. Louis does an incredibly good job with the Missouri Valley Conference and Arch Madness. But after that, a lot of people have tried to figure this out over the course of time, and they keep moving cities. And, the more we thought about it, we felt this is really a great place for us. And, for the people who are in the upstate listening right now, it's a short trip. we hope they come up and check out the tournament, both the men's and women's side. And we've got an incredible volunteer base here as well. The things that we do with the downtown dribble are incredible, and the things they do Saturday morning. We're going to have our Hall of Fame induction for the SoCon Hall of Fame on Thursday night, and we've really built out a full 4 or 5 day experience where you can, experience all things SoCon and feel great about, your alma mater or the school that you support, and the students can come out. So all those things make Asheville an incredible destination for us, and we're really appreciative of the support we get here from the volunteers, from the fans, and from our corporate sponsors. Ingalls is the title sponsor. Explore Asheville is incredibly important here, and the Harris Cherokee Center does a great job for us as a host building.
Michael, I just hope you put that 27,000 miles on a rental car and not your personal vehicle, because that is a lot of miles. I'm going to put you in another tight spot here, okay? I'm going to ask you this question. You wouldn't be surprised if the finals for the men's and the women's tournaments came down to which teams?
Any of them is the answer. And I mean that. I mean that sincerely. If you look at what has occurred over the course of the season, let's look at just this past Saturday. The Citadel, who will be in a early round game, first round game, knocks off our number 2 seed Wofford. ETSU, who was our regular season champion, is unfortunately for them, fortunately for others, they're in the midst of a 2-game losing streak, despite the fact that they tied, they wrapped up the title, and they're heading in here on a downbeat, but they'll try and figure it out. Like, you can go school after school. We'll announce our all conference teams tomorrow. There's some high end talent and players. You've got a team like Furman that is tied for 4th, but ultimately gets seeded 6th, that has a lot of talent on it. Western Carolina, comes out of nowhere and puts together a 7-game run, I think, going down the stretch here heading into the tournament. So that's all on the men's side. And women's side, very similar. The games have been incredibly close throughout the year. Chattanooga and Wofford and ETSU in a 3-way tie for first place. So I say that with all sincerity, that we've got a tournament that is wide open for both the men and the women. And you mentioned that one bid league piece out of the gate. This is far more dramatic, and what you will see in Asheville the next few days is far more dramatic than what is happening in the NCAA tournament. If you're a slightly above 500 team from the Big Ten, you already know you're going to the NCAA. These games don't matter a whole heck of a lot. The season's end, and everybody's season is going to end with a loss, except for 2 teams coming out of Asheville, unless we have somebody who's fortunate enough to go to the NIT. So the drama and the pressure on the players and on our coaches and our administrators really all comes down to this crucible of Asheville and making sure that they're putting their best foot forward and performing in the best way that they can. And there's no better type of environment than what you'll see here over the next few days.
Well, Michael, we'll catch up with you on Monday as well. And as always, we appreciate your time. We look forward to it.
Yeah, I look forward to it as well. And I look forward to talking again on Monday. SoConHoops.com is the place to be if people need information. So go check it out.
Great. Thank you so much, Michael Cross, Commissioner of the SoCon. Good stuff there, man. And he's right. I think Diesel, like he said there, we've said it multiple times, it's up for grabs this year. And of course, you got ETSU and a couple others, but I think it's wide open. Who gets hot at the right time?
Yeah, you got to love conferences like this where everything is on the line, right? I mean, there's ACC conference tournaments and Big 12 and Big 10 and SEC, and it's most of these teams are getting in. It's not some of these teams or maybe 1 or 2 of these teams. It's most of these teams.
No doubt.
But when you're talking about this conference, man, you just never know.
Never know. I can't wait. We'll be there on Monday broadcasting live, and it's going to be a lot of fun, Tolos. If you haven't made plans, like he said, go up there and catch a game or 2 this weekend. Wofford and Furman both in action on Saturday. Let's dive into Diesel in the very next segment. Away, you Tolos can get in on the action on the show with the Bracket Challenge, the tournament coming up. If you haven't heard about it, if you just tuned in, well, we've got a way we can all participate. We'll get into it next.
Upstate.
Well, maybe you just tuned into the show and you didn't catch the show earlier where Diesel and I encouraged you Tolos to join the Wire-to-Wire ESPN Bracket Challenge. I want to know from you, Diesel, real quick after I give this link out, if you are willing to share what your strategy is for your bracket. Do you have a strategy, Tolos? Also want to hear yours as well. You can join the bracket challenge by going to the Fan Upstate on our Twitter page and on Facebook. I'm going to pin that tweet right now on Twitter. That way it's the first thing you see on Twitter at the Fan Upstate. Also, if you want to text into the show and ask for the link, I will text the link directly to you, 844-326-3663. You said earlier, we want 10 a day. Let's see if we can get over 100 in this thing. You think the Tolos are up for it?
I think they are. It's a dangerous strategy, Cole. It feels like the right thing to do to just go scratch. Like highest ranked team, higher seeded team, just have them win this thing. It feels like the right strategy.
And you know what?
But it's never the right strategy.
It's not. But I think you're on. I think for me, and you tell me, what I always struggle with is how many upsets do you pick? How many That's always for me the hardest part of filling out a bracket is, do you want to go upset heavy and risk it for the biscuit? Or do you want to play more conservative, right? Because you know that a lot of those upsets won't happen. So like you said, do you go scratch and take some of those higher seeds? I try to lean more conservative and not pick as many upsets. I do pick a few. I'll pick a few upsets. But don't you feel like upsets are just so much more difficult to hit compared to now, I don't mean like an 8 versus a 9, a 9 beating a 8 or what, a 10 beating a 7. Those happen.
And there's the ever ready for an upset 5-12 matchup. I mean, everybody keeps looking at that 5-12 and says, well, I got to pick a couple upsets in that matchup because historically speaking, it is a high upset probability matchup.
Why?
I think it's probably because you get one of the less than what was your terminology for it earlier? Surefires.
Sure, yeah.
So you get a probably kind of team out of a big conference versus an elite team out of a small conference.
I wonder if could Clemson fall to a 12? Like, think about that. What if Clemson were a 12 playing a 5?
Yeah.
And maybe, I don't know. Clemson, I think last I looked, was projected to be a 9 or a 10. Now, they won Saturday over Louisville, and that certainly helps, right? If they win tonight, Diesel, and beat North Carolina, then all of a sudden you're talking, no. They're going to be fine. They're going to be much better than a 12 seed. But I just wonder.
Well, Joe Lunardi moved him up to a 7.
Did he?
In his bracket.
Oh, already?
After beating Louisville.
Whoa. That's a big jump.
So now you're talking about, what if they beat Louisville and North Carolina back to back?
Oh, that'd definitely be a 7, maybe a 6, right? Projected to be.
Uh-huh.
That is, I didn't know he had him all the way up to a 7.
That's what I saw that online. I haven't looked at his latest bracketology.
Wow.
But I had heard that Lunardi bumped him up, and they were yesterday when I ran the sim on Evan Miyakawa's website. Clemson was seated as a 9.
That's unbelievable.
So again, that is a sim, not the opinion of a bracketologist. But that's a collection of a lot of data.
And by the way, we have 9. We opened the challenge today. We already have 9. If we want to hit our goal of 100 plus, we need 10 a day. So between now and the end of the show is 1 hour exactly. 1 hour exactly. We need one more Tolo to enter the bracket challenge. Again, if you want to text the show at 844-326-3663. I'll send you the link right back, or you can go to Facebook or Twitter at the Fan Upstate. The link is there as well. We need one more Tolo today, and then we'll be on. That's a good idea, Diesel. 10 a day. We'll be on track for today if we can get one more just today. That's all we need.
Yeah.
Not asking a lot here.
I told you wrong. Clemson is bumped up to an 8 seed in Joe Lunardi's latest bracketology.
Okay.
He'd have them facing off against 9 seed Missouri in that one.
Interesting.
The West region in San Diego, which should also put them in the same bracket as Arizona. Yowza.
Ouch.
Ooh, yeah.
Ouch.
That's
Be
tough.
tough.
That's tough.
Be real tough.
Tolos, when we come back, we're a sue happy country nowadays. You look at me the wrong way, you offend me, I'm just going to sue you. What would you do if a big chunk of prize money was up for grabs and could have been yours, but a race official screwed you over? We'll talk about that and get into tonight's Hornets-Mavs matchup next, right here on the Fan Upstate. A little confusion from Dan B on what we're talking about here with the bracket challenge that we're throwing out there for you Tolos. It's on ESPN.com. We've got a link for you on our Facebook and our Twitter pages at the Fan Upstate. We are hoping to get 10 Tolos per day to sign up for this thing. Cole, I don't think there's any limit to how many people can be in a bracket. Now, we would like for you Tolos to only create one account and sign up one time in the bracket. Then again, we're not going to stop you. If you want to create 5 accounts and have 5 brackets in this thing, go for it. But we obviously can't stop you from doing that. Welcome into Wire to Wire. He's Cole Bryson. My name is Diesel. Again, if you want to get into the bracket challenge, hit up our Facebook and our Twitter pages or text us at 844-FAN-PHONE, 844-326-3663. Let us know that you want to be in the bracket, and we will share the link.
Just had 2 more.
So you can jump right in. Awesome.
Just had 2.
Tolos, don't wait. Don't wait. Get into this thing. Cole, what would you do if you were in an athletic competition where cash money was on the line and you took a wrong turn? What am I talking about? In Atlanta, they had the half marathon championship qualification event.
Okay.
No way in heck could I run 13.1 miles. I couldn't even come close to that. But these track stars, college runners, they get into this thing and they make money by where they position. Well, the problem for one particular runner is that the guide vehicle that kind of you run behind the guide vehicle took the leaders on a wrong turn.
Oh,
GPS, took them a wrong Apple Maps.
This was training, right? The training.
No, this was a qualification event.
Ooh.
This is a qualification event.
Ooh.
She was mistakenly led off course. Her name was Jess McClain. She was leading the half marathon by a lot. Like it wasn't like she was 50 yards in front of second and third place. Like she was leading by a lot.
Yeah.
And then the guide vehicle took her on a wrong turn. How does this even happen?
That's great. I love this already.
And she lost. She didn't win. She didn't win the half marathon.
There's no way this is real.
No, it's real. She was leading by a wide margin with 1.5 miles to go. She and 3 other runners took a wrong turn when the guide vehicle took a wrong turn. She was following a police escort. So it's not like just some volunteer who took the wrong turn. The cops took them down a wrong turn, Cole. Took them off course for about 1 kilometer before they figured it out. And again, obviously it cost them the race. And she is now asking for restitution from the organizers here, saying that she likely lost $20,000 in prize money. So what should she do? What should the organizers of the U.S. Half Marathon Championship do? Should they just pay her some money? Should they put her in the championship as like a little asterisk? What should happen here?
Her name's Jess McClain.
Yes. Not John McClane's wife.
If I were her, it would be called the Jess McClain Invitational. I would sue the bleep out of them.
Yeah.
Because I asked the question. It's not like it was just training or there were no repercussions.
Right.
They were out for and this was in Atlanta. You get turned around in Atlanta, you got to wear bulletproof vest. I mean, she should have been wearing that. Is insane to me. And 2 miles to go, I'm reading now. She was, like you said, way out in front, right? And then I want to know what the moment was like when she realized there wasn't anyone in front of her because that lead vehicle all of a sudden just veers off. How does that happen? Yeah. I mean, that is not in zero way is that her fault. She did everything she was supposed to do. I hadn't heard about this until you brought it up. I
would think that if I'm going to be running in this marathon, I'm gonna drive the course a couple times so that I can recognize where I'm supposed to go instead of just blindly following the lead vehicle.
No, I'd blindly follow it. I would not do any kind of prep. If they tell me that's what we're gonna do, I'd follow the vehicle.
Why am I on Peachtree? I'm supposed to be on Martin Luther King Boulevard.
I know. That is insane. Why are we next to the Varsity Restaurant 4 times? The driver of the lead vehicle was hungry and wanted a burger, I
feel
guess.
like we've been here before.
That is sad. Should she get money? 100%.
Yeah, cost her
100%
$20K.
That 20, yeah, I would be suing like nobody's business. And it's unfortunate. Like, it's nothing she did. Nothing that she did wrong there.
Here is some fantastic audio. By the way, Tennessee, South Carolina is underway at Colonial Life Arena.
Did you see this?
There's far more empty seats there than there are filled ones.
That's why when you started the segment, I was laughing. It wasn't because of anything you said. They showed a wide shot for a minute of the arena, and I just started laughing. It is, look at those black seats behind the
I get
the
it.
score.
It's 6 o'clock.
Yeah, but
some people aren't off work yet, but this is bad.
And Tennessee's already covering the spread, I think. I mean, what was the spread? 6? No. You said it earlier. I think it was 6 or 7, 8.5. It wasn't a large number, maybe 9. I can't remember. It's already 11-3 is my point. Already.
Gosh, this is going to get out of control.
There's a big crowd shot right there. Look at the seats up there.
God,
there's a lot of seats. A lot of seats.
If I was them, I would drape off the upper deck, just move
like
everybody
Bon
down.
Secours does, right?
Yeah.
For a concert. It's bad. They'll cover the spread. I wish I would have put $1 million on that game tonight. That is a lock right there. I think it was 9.5, something like that. But that is embarrassing.
Spread is big. Here is audio, Cole, of the winner. Her name is Molly. Molly Bourne won this half marathon championship. Obviously under controversial circumstances. Here she is talking about winning this thing.
I don't really feel like a U.S. champion just because of the whole situation that went down at the end. So, yeah, those girls were like pretty far ahead of me. So I was pretty sure I was coming in fourth. But I saw Carrie make the wrong turn. And they like corrected her like fairly quickly compared to the lead pack. And then the directors were like, go straight. So I guess I was the only one who went straight at that turn. But yeah, I guess I was just very, very lucky, but it doesn't feel like I won.
Good on her.
Yeah, good for her for being honest about it. If that's not the case, if they did that, why? Maybe they didn't realize it fast enough. Why not send everybody down the same route and say, hey, no matter what, even if it's 13.5 miles, you all have to do the same route?
I think they should just redo the whole race. How many miles? 13 and a half?
13.1.
And that's a what K?
That's I don't know how many Ks.
Oh, I thought you said it was a half marathon. Gotcha. Half marathon is
26.2.
Wow, that's a lot. I think, I hate to say it, I think you should probably redo it. I do.
Do we have any like distance runners who are listening right now? Do any of you Tolos run?
You think our listeners run? Now, I did have a buddy of mine ask me.
The only thing they're running to is the varsity.
Hey, I had a buddy of mine ask me to run the, I think it's a 6K in Charleston. The big bridge.
Yeah.
What is that called? The Cooper River run. The Cooper River Bridge run. I do it every March or April in Charleston, and I think I had something going on that weekend. Of course, I couldn't make it. I think it's 6K. What does a 6K mean? Is that 3.5? No, I'm not good. I'm not a distance runner. But I wish I was.
I could do I think I could do a 5K with a minimal amount of training. 6K is 3.7 miles.
6K is 3.7. That's a lot of miles. So a 5K is what?
5K is 3.10 miles. I think I could do a 5K.
But could you run the entire time, though? 3 straight miles?
Define run.
No. Just
no walking. No walking.
No walking? You think you could do 3.1?
I think I could do 3.1.
I don't know that I could. I'll be honest with you.
Yeah, I could do 3.1.
No walking for.
Wait, so I can't believe you called our listeners fatties, Cole. Can't believe you. I was giving you an opportunity to back out of that. Beep. No, we have listeners who are former professional baseball players. There's got to be. We have titans in industry and CEOs listening right now. But again, do we have anybody that has run long distance? Maybe not right now, but like in the
20
past,
years ago.
How often can you do it? Like if you do a competitive 13-mile race, like do you need like 2 weeks to get your legs back under you before you could go out and compete again? Or could you do it again 2 days later?
I bet 2 or 3 days later. I bet so. They're already in such good shape. And I think, again, I don't know this for a fact. I think when you talk about that long distance, Diesel, it's more about the breathing, right? The controlled breathing, your body being used to the stamina that physically, you're in great shape physically already. So I don't think from a physical standpoint, you'd have to wait a whole week, 2 weeks, 3 weeks. I think it's just, you got to learn how to, there are other things. You have to learn how to control your breathing. You have to learn how to, build to tell your brain and your body that you can run that long without stopping. Oh, and by the way, speaking of running, 2 things, the Gamecocks have went on a little run. It's now 13-8. Now 15-8. And then the second running point that I want to bring up, reminder for those Tolos out there, Thursday, and reminder for you as well, 2 days from now, you and I will be doing our 1-year anniversary of our 40 time, since it's the NFL Combine season. Rob Jones.
I started stretching this morning.
Yeah, you need to. I need to as well. Rob Jones of News Talk 98.9 will be our official timekeeper again, and we're going to do that Thursday live on air in the parking lot, just like we did last year. We'll have to measure out 40 yards, and we'll see if we can improve. I need to start practicing on that, by the way.
I'm surprised we haven't had a listener already call that into question, Cole. Like, you rehire your co-conspirator for your fast time?
Because he was good for me.
For me. Good for you.
I like that. He's not going to get fired unless he comes up with a bad time for me this year. Now, if I'm slower this year than I was last year, which I shouldn't be, even though I'm a year older, I should be a little bit faster, but I'd like to see if I could do the same time 1 year later.
According to Google AI Overview, which we trust ChatGPT more on this show than Google, half marathon runners should train 3 to 5 days per week.
Yeah,
so
that's a lot.
They can take a day off, run the race again. If they can all.
See what I'm saying? That's a lot. Like that they're just so conditioned, though. It's like me. I mean, it's just you're so conditioned to it already.
I don't know that I drive 65 miles a week, let alone run 65 miles a week. That's ridiculous.
65 miles.
If you're going to run 5 days a week at 13.1 times 5, we're doing a lot of math.
What'd you say? 13?
65.5 miles per week. If you trained for a half marathon 5 days a week,
How
you
many?
run 65.5 miles a week.
And that's 13 miles a day.
Yeah. If you're,
good freaking luck with that.
You train the distance, right?
Good
you don't train 15 miles. You train for 13.1.
That's insane. I think running a mile. I try to do a mile a day. I think running a mile a day is hard, but I'm, not. If I could run,
just wait till you turn 30. Your knees are going to start screaming at you.
Yeah.
You're going to have to get special orthopedic shoes.
I do wear Asics. Asics are my running shoes. I love Asics.
I'm an on-cloud guy.
I don't have a problem with on-clouds, but I'm an Asics. I love Asics. I would like to imagine one day I could do a 5K or a half marathon, but I'd be in great.
Start training for it now.
No doubt. I'd be in good shape though, man. I mean, I could eat all I wanted if I ran that much. So, good on her for being honest. The girl that won, and then for the girl, what was her name that didn't win?
Jess McClain.
McClain, hate it for you. I really do think they should say, hey, we're gonna wait 2 weeks, redo it in Atlanta, and we're gonna have her.
I think you got to use her average time to run 13.1, like official time. If you could say Jess McClain ran the official time the last 5 times, an average of, I don't even know what time would be. Let's call it, an hour and 5 minutes. And the girl who won it, she won it at an hour and 7 minutes. Like, obviously Jess is faster.
Yeah.
So
I'm envious. Like this picture of Jess, I'm envious of these runners' body fat percentage. I mean, it's got to be like almost nothing. They're sticks. You ever see people out running that just run these marathons and cross country? I mean, it is. I hate them.
I think it looks weird. I think people look weird who have that body type.
See, I'd love it. I'd love it.
I'd love to have it.
To be that skinny, though. I mean, the body fat percentage has got to be just next to nothing. But hate it for Jess McClain. Good on the winner, though, for being honest. And, getting turned around in Atlanta, that could cost you more next time.
Yeah, well, it pays to know your route, okay? Like, did she not have her Apple Watch on or something, telling her which way to go?
She's locked in, Diesel. She was so locked in. She was locked in, didn't care, didn't matter. She was going to – I love it. I love it.
Well, who amongst us, though, Cole, has never made a wrong turn because they weren't paying attention to where they were going? Yeah. Happens
I do every day.
The time.
I literally think I do just almost every day.
I
did today.
We started the show off, Cole, in a weird way today. Most of our Tolos who are just tuning in now, they wouldn't know. But we started the show today without
naked.
The FM.
Oh, sorry. Wasn't supposed to tell that. You said without. You were going to go there without clothes. Without clothes.
Without Yeah. Jeez. Without an FM signal, we had people blowing us up. What's going on? What are you guys are off the air? Do you know that you're off the air? We got it figured out though. And so if you tried to go back and find the stream on the show today, which I know a lot of our Tolos time shift and they listen how and when they want, it's going to sound a little awkward to start the show, but that would be why.
And we did learn a lot about radio in the process with ChatGPT. Yep. We learned how to fix radios when they were down, the engineering side of it. I don't know if you just like hit a button. I don't know. I'm not smart enough to be an engineer, but it seems like there should be an easy. We were off the air for over an hour, by the way.
I picture it was kind of like that part in Jurassic Park where they have to go down into that secret bunker. Yeah. They got to flip all the breakers. And then, of course, the Velociraptor, bite your head off.
I'm sure it was close to that.
Yeah.
Real quick scoring update. Tennessee leads South Carolina 21-10, 11.5 to play in the first half. And timeout called. Look at Lamont Paris, man. He was shaking his head.
He knows it's over.
I'm looking at the crowd now, man. There might be. Oh, I'm so bad at predicting.
What does the arena hold?
It's pretty big. It's a pretty big arena. It might be 1,000 people there.
It's
tonight.
An 18,000 seat arena.
Okay, maybe 2,000. It might be 2,000 people there. That's a big arena though. 18,000 is big.
Huge.
That's big. A lot bigger than Bon Secours, right? I mean, that is a big arena. I love Bon Secours because the women's tournament starting tomorrow, but it ain't 18,000, is it?
And no, it's not. 18,000 is. I didn't realize this. South Carolina is among the top 10 largest on-campus basketball facilities in the country.
It is.
By the way, if you happen to be going down for the SEC women's tournament, Bon Secours looks so good now that they've redone all the seats on the inside. I hadn't been in. I don't know when the last time was that I went in, but they used to have those kind of like faded red seats. Now they're all black, and it looks so good.
I'm going to be there Friday. South Carolina plays at noon on Friday. I won't be there Saturday for South Carolina because they play Saturday night. I've got something to do Saturday night. But then if they make it to the championship, I'll be there Sunday. We do believe, though, they're going to make it to the championship, right? Surely. I mean, that's what they do. They play on Sundays in Greenville. It seems like they have every year. So I would imagine they'll be back again there on Sunday. I can't wait, though. I cannot wait. I love the SEC women's tournament. It's a great venue. I mean, everybody raves about it. All the people who come, they talk about how much they love Greenville. So
unless you're the head coach of Texas.
Vic Schaefer, he's the only one. He doesn't like it.
That arena.
And it's a home crowd for South Carolina. We should be playing in Louisiana, or Mississippi's closer to us. But Vic Schaefer, I can't stand that guy.
By the way, South Carolina could face LSU in the semifinals.
Which would be Saturday night, right?
Yep, that should be Saturday night.
And that's the game I can't be at.
That would be a 4:30 on Saturday.
I have something to go. Oh, I hate
Skip it.
I can't.
She'll go out with you again.
Maybe. You think so?
Maybe.
Probably not.
Just tell her you got to go watch women's basketball. She'll understand.
I would love to see Kim Mulkey and Dawn Staley. See if the streak can continue. Are you kidding me? Rocco Miller. Let's get into a little college basketball. Rocco Miller of Bracketeer.org. Next.
Our athletes trust you to protect them. Fentanyl is now in counterfeit pills and street drugs, and just one dose can be deadly. Know the signs. Carry Narcan. Start the conversation, because saving a life starts with you. Learn more at playsafeusa.org.
When it comes to the best sports talk anywhere,
let's get this show going, man.
Listen to the Fan Upstate on Odyssey no matter where you are. In the car, at home, at work. Download the free Odyssey app on your phone. Search the Fan Upstate and you're in the game.
Hey, now we roll.
The Fan Upstate.
The ball's in your court. Sound off now at 844 Fan Phone.
This is Wire to Wire with Diesel and Cole Bryson on the Fan Upstate.
Time to talk a little college basketball right here on the Fan Upstate, as we do each and every Tuesday at this very time with Rocco Miller of Bracketeer.org. Simply the best when it comes to college hoops. Always appreciate your time, Rocco. I did want to bring up something and get your thoughts on a tweet that I retweeted earlier today, and you may have seen this already, Rocco, but one of our local journalists, Chapel Fowler, tweeted out some information regarding Clemson men's basketball. Brad Brownell, the head coach, obviously, in a conversation with A.D. Graham Neff, talking about how they're having final meetings right now to discuss how much money Clemson will have to pay portal players this offseason. He also reiterated a point that I want to get your thoughts on, Brownell did, where he said there are some challenges with men's basketball rev sharing, roster portal funding at Clemson, where about 86% of the school's rev sharing money goes to football. Brownell says he'll make suggestions, but ultimately that's Graham Neff's call. Rocco, is this a Clemson problem, or is this something that you think is a lot more common across the sport of college basketball when it comes to the amount of rev share dollars that they're given year in and year out?
That's a great question. I think it's unique a little bit. It's somewhere in between because you look at a place like Clemson, it's clearly football first. I mean, there's no ifs, ands, or buts or mysteries about it. So it's a football first athletic department. There's several like Clemson, throughout the Southeast. You could even look in the Big Ten at certain places. Ohio State comes to mind pretty quickly. You look even out here in the West where USC would be similar, and even where I'm from originally, Washington. Those are football first places. So if you do have extra rev share or a lion's share, it's got to go to football because your entire fan base is, not the entire fan base, but the so much revenue in the community and in the department is coming through from that one channel, and it's supporting nearly everything else. And now maybe men's basketball is a cost neutral. Maybe in some cases, in the SEC, it's a little bit profitable. If it is, not a whole lot. And so it's just the nature of the beast. It's the nature of the beast. And what's interesting is you have like the Big East, and to a smaller degree, you have like the Atlantic 10, and then out here in the West, we have Gonzaga, and we have, the West Coast Conference, like St. Mary's, where they don't have football. And all those big dollars are going to the hoops program. So maybe Brownell's frustration is in those types of examples. Obviously, when you're going up against Duke and North Carolina, specifically in hoops, they're getting more dollars towards basketball than football at those places from a percentage point of view. So again, it's just, you kind of just do a brainstorming exercise, and you could probably start to guess why Brownell's frustrated. Louisville, maybe like a 50-50. I do think there's probably a tiny bit more care about basketball than football. They've had great football under Brian Brom, but it's, the care of basketball is a fever pitch in places like Kentucky and Louisville. So it's all based on the place, but at the same time, if your pie is bigger, then who cares about the percentage? You're still getting more money, right? So I think Clemson's focus as an athletic department is, even if it is just, the 14%, the 10%, whatever basketball is going to get, just keep growing that pie, and you'll still have more money than a good chunk of the ACC in that example.
Rocco, we saw Indiana win a national championship at football with $21 million in NIL. And, that honestly is not that much compared to what some of the other biggest programs, Ohio State and Texas, et cetera, Miami are spending on their football NIL. What do you think the number really is? Not to necessarily say if we spend this, we can almost guarantee ourselves a national championship in college basketball, but what is the highly competitive number What does that need to be? If you're Brad Brownell saying this is what we need to have if you want us to take a step to be a highly competitive national program.
Well, if you want to try to get some of the elite talent, guys that are going for, $3 to $4 million a piece, you're going to need a budget north of $10 million. I think this year, this current season that we're finishing, there was probably somewhere around 20 teams that could say that, just give or take, maybe a little short of that, maybe a little north of that. But I think next year those dollars are already getting set in stone and being offered around. And so that's where I think Brad's getting an idea of what he's going to need or what he would like to have to be able to compete. I think he probably realizes somewhere inside that to be able to get the kind of money Duke, Carolina, and Louisville are getting is probably not realistic, but you would at least want to be able to keep up with like NC State, Florida State, Miami. Miami basketball's probably got a good amount of money coming in as well with the power of Jai Lucas. He brought in great players as soon as he got hired. Big reason why he got the job, right? So yeah, I think that's what his concern is. I think Brad Brownell's built an entire career of winning on the margins and not having 5-star recruits, right? He's always built his teams through teamwork, chemistry, loyalty, returning players, etc. And so perhaps some of the fear is maybe not being able to keep the returning players if they are leaning towards entering the portal. That could be part of the calculation there as well to go public with the comments. But I don't know what else he can do because in reality, are you ever going to be able to have the kind of dollars that Duke and Carolina have? I don't think that's realistic. And it really never has in basketball. And so probably just trying to put together as much money as possible is the goal here. And then maybe hold on to the returning players he wants and have enough to be frisky in the portal. But obviously you have to realize if this is like a Major League Baseball comparison, Clemson's probably something like similar to the Detroit Tigers or the Cleveland Guardians or something where, they're not going to have Yankees or Red Sox money, but they could still build a good team and break through, if it all breaks right. And that's where the focus probably is internally. He just can't say all that publicly.
That's a good comparison. I like that. As we're joined by Rocco Miller of Bracketeer.org right here on the Fan Upstate talking college hoops. If you have a question for Rocco, you can get it in on the Joy Law Firm text line 844-326-3663. Well, Rocco, that 8.5-point spread last night wasn't too troubling for the Duke Blue Devils going against NC State. I know, man, March is wacky. It's wild. But this Duke team's really good. We just saw them beat Michigan a couple of weeks ago. Can you somehow, some way convince me that Duke's not going to be playing for a national championship?
Well, it's interesting. I mean, I feel like that Michigan win really took them to a new level. We've seen them take the court 3 times since then, and they handed Notre Dame the worst loss in 128 years the very next time out. Then the next time out, they played a really good Virginia team that's had an amazing 4-loss season and beat them by just 26. And now they go to NC State, who figures to still – they've had a rough run here lately, but NC State's still in the field, tournament-level team. It's a road game. It's NC State's biggest game of the year, right? For a home game, they probably had it sold out since the preseason. And they go in there like it's nothing and toy with the Wolfpack, win by nearly 30. So, yeah, I just feel like the confidence level is certainly at its peak right now. North Carolina to wrap up on Saturday. They lost to North Carolina last time. So, of course, you would imagine they're going to rev things up. And I think the other thing to keep in mind, too, is the Boozers, obviously led by Cam. But, of course, Caden's been along with him through all levels of basketball. You just look at their high school resume, whether it was in high school ball or in summer ball. I think they've won every available championship in their life so far. And again, they're young freshmen. They haven't gotten into full college basketball season yet or NBA accolades yet. But these guys have won everywhere they've gone. And there's going to be a lot of expectations within themselves to lead these Blue Devils to the title. So it's a very difficult team, if you understand all that, to pick against later. So I don't want to pick against it. I don't think that'd be wise. But I do think there's some teams, a rematch with Michigan could be really interesting. I think a frontline battle, another rematch with Florida. So if you remember Florida, they beat by 1 point in Cameron, and Florida had the lead with about 5 seconds to go, could have closed it out and had a bad bounce there, and Duke pulls it out by 1 point. But I think Florida would be licking their chops to try to play that team again. So the NCAA tournament, any question you want to ask about that, it's always about matchups. And there's a lot of teams that cannot match up with Duke. It'll be over quickly.
Yeah.
But once we get down to the Elite Eight, maybe even Sweet 16, and of course into the Final Four, we really will have some juicy matchups. So it's really hard to say if they'll get to the national championship or not. Last year's team was supposed to be far and away even just as dominant, I guess, comparing 1 versus 2, and they didn't get there. Yeah. So you just got to play the matchups, but this team looks very, very difficult to beat right now.
Talking to Rocco Miller of Bracketeer.org here on Wire to Wire with Diesel and Cole Bryson. You know, when you talk about the Miami of Ohio situation, it really comes down to a head versus heart debate. And to me, one of the beautiful things about the NCAA basketball tournament, it allows you to have both, right? You get the heady conversation of which team is better statistically, but you also have the clear defined path of win your conference championship tournament, and you're in. Obviously, you know, you've been keeping up with the Bruce Pearl conversation over the last couple of days. Where do you come down on Bruce's interpretation of whether or not an undefeated Division I team should not get in because they had a very weak strength of schedule?
Well, I think it's pretty erroneous, to be frank. I think the bottom line is it's really hard to do what Miami, Ohio has done. And one of the tools that has been introduced, of course, here in the last year is the wins above bubble. You hear it talked about all the time now by the NCAA. You're actually starting to see it more. I had SportsCenter on last night after the Arizona game. They're actually talking about it now on there, and we're putting it up on our graphics over at Field of 68 for our shows. And the reason why it is popular and why the NCAA eventually adopted it is because every time you take the court, you get credit for something. Like even if you beat a bad team, you get 0.01 credit towards that overall decimal point, which is an accumulation metric, right? So it's so basic for fans to follow if they really want to follow it, because every time you take the court, you're either going forwards or you're going backwards. You lose, you go backwards. If you win, you go forwards. So a lot of this country, especially in the mid-major ranks, they're all well below 0. But all of these Miami, Ohio wins have now added all the way up to like 2.2 is the last time I looked at it on Monday. And that is good for 31st best in the country.
Wow.
And so that's what the committee is going to look at. If they get to the finish line undefeated, obviously they're going anyway because they'll have won the automatic bid. But they actually have a case to be a 7 or an 8 or even a 9 seed, somewhere in there. I've been projecting them as an 11, just assuming they might get more judged on like their KenPom ranking, which is in the 80s. But I think when it comes to just getting into the tournament, that tool is going to help a lot, because even if Miami, Ohio takes 2 losses, they'll go from like that 2.2 number. They'll take sizable drops because in the MAC, you're not playing good teams unless it's to Akron in the championship game. So they'll still end up above 0. Like they won't go to negative numbers. And right now, pretty much every team that's above 0 on my chart is getting in, if there might be 1 or 2 exceptions. So I think Miami, Ohio probably has wiggle room to lose twice. I don't want to promise that because the committee can do anything they want. The NCAA, it's their decision, and you have 12 voters. But I do think if they there's 2 things I will put my reputation on the line for. One would be if they finish the regular season with 2 wins and get undefeated, I think they're in no matter what, because then all they can do is lose once in Cleveland, and that's it. And the other angle would be if they can get to if they lose once this week, I think a championship game appearance gets them in as well, because there is a precedent. If you get to 29 Division I wins in the history of the men's basketball selection process, and it really goes back only 30 years since we've had this many games to look at, every team with 29 wins or more has been selected. So they would be breaking a pretty important precedent to leave them out. So I really feel very comfortable that Miami, Ohio is getting in with one of those 2 scenarios, and we're down to the finish line now. So we're gonna know that pretty quickly.
So I know the winning your conference tournament is the only surefire lock way to get in. Help me out here, because I'm not sure of the rule here. Is it possible for the MAC to send their regular season champ instead of their conference tournament champ, or do they not have a choice in that?
They don't have a choice now. They would have to announce that, I think, before the season starts, or even last summer. You can't just change it. You can't move the goalposts in the middle of the season. So that is not an option at this point. So they will be sending their champion of the tournament, because they have a MAC tournament, right? They sell tickets to it. We know 8 teams are showing up in Cleveland, and we're doing quarterfinals, semifinals, and a title game. The winner of that is going to the dance. So, yeah, the MAC, of course, they have to be feeling pretty good because as a conference, because if Miami, Ohio does fall, they have a pretty good shot to get 2 teams in, and that's basically double the money for the league. So I think they're feeling pretty good about running a tournament.
Rocco, my last question for you, man. We talked about this yesterday, but on the women's side, an incredible feat yet again from UConn, 31-0, 47 consecutive games, and it's the 11th unbeaten season for UConn. We all know what Gino's done and how incredible it's been. Would you say that there is any feat, anything that's been done on the men's side in the history of the sport that can compare to the amount of success Gino and the girls team have had under him in his tenure at UConn?
I mean, the only thing that comes to mind, probably the obvious one, right? John Wooden at UCLA. I mean, just they went on a streak, I think, where they won 88 in a row. Do I have that right? When they finally lost in the Astrodome to the Houston Cougars, in whatever year that was in the 70s, it was before I was born. But yeah, like UCLA's run was something my dad told stories to me about going to bed when I was a kid, and absolutely dominant, winning all those championships, 11 national championships. So I guess that would be my best comparison. I don't have all the UConn women's stats in front of me, unfortunately, but I think that's pretty high praise if he's even close to what John Wooden achieved in Westwood.
Rocco, I'm going to give you the resume, and you may know this team because I know you're so plugged in on all this stuff, but I won't give you the team's name, okay? 15-14 overall, 5-11 in quad 1 games, 2-2 in quad 2 games, and a combined 8-1 in quad 3 and 4 games. Is that a tournament team in your mind, and do you know who I'm talking about?
First question, absolutely no. It's not a tournament team, and absolutely yes, I know who you're talking about. It's War Eagle, the Auburn Tigers.
Okay.
And
we had a texter ask, what do they have to do to get in at this point?
Yeah, honestly, I think the Auburn thing is so simple right now, because there's another precedent I can bring up here, a pretty important one. No team that's had more than 15 losses has got in, and you have to assume Auburn's going to lose in the SEC tournament. So that would be loss number 16 if they lose one of these next 2. So I think the formula here is Auburn goes and beats LSU. That's a must. And then that win at Alabama will also not only be a win to get them to 17-14, but it will also just be an amazing road win for the resume to go along with the road win at Florida. And I think that game at Alabama, if they beat LSU today, that game at Alabama is for Auburn's season. Because of that, the math just got really, really clear for us here after that loss to Ole Miss. So I think if they go and win these 2 this week, they're in. If they lose either one of them, they're out.
Rocco, you're the man as always. We appreciate you, and we'll talk to you next week.
My pleasure, fellas. Thanks again. It was fun.
Absolutely. Rocco Miller, Bracketeer.org. That guy's just an encyclopedia. He knew he didn't. You couldn't stump him on the Auburn. I mean, I know that was Shane Barrett probably that
A little live check-in in Columbia. It's not going well for the South Carolina Gamecocks. They are down 40-28 at halftime to Tennessee, already not covering. The spread on that game was Tennessee favored by 9.5.
Yeah, but at least it's not 15. You got to look at the bright side.
They're not getting completely blown out.
Yeah, Diesel. I mean, give them a little credit. I mean, they're keeping it within 15 points. You're just so down on Lamont. What's your deal with Lamont? Do you have something against him? I mean,
I want him to get fired so that South Carolina fans have a reason to smile.
Yeah,
finally.
Yeah, it's been a while.
Yeah, baseball is off to a bad start. Basketball is closing out another disappointing season. Football, you just lost Josiah Thompson earlier today for the season for a lower leg injury. It's just nothing but bad news.
You and I have been a little bit cursed on this show. This is year 3 for us. And since then, the Braves have stunk, right? They won the World Championship a couple of years before we started the show. And then South Carolina, our first year together was pretty good that year.
Yeah.
Are
we the black cloud?
Maybe I was going to say maybe we're the problem. We're the problem here. I mean, think about it. The Braves have stunk. Clemson stunk football-wise. Clemson basketball went on one good run our first year of the show when they went to the Elite Eight. Mm-hmm. Think about that. That's what we need to do a segment on. Since Wire to Wire started, maybe we're the problem.
Well,
here.
If you do that, you know what's going to happen. You're going to have people petitioning to have us fired.
They already do. I mean, it was new. They already do.
True.
It's crazy to think about, though. Maybe we need to do a study into that.
Some late-breaking NFL free agency news for you. The Colts have placed the transition tag on quarterback Daniel Jones. You don't hear that one being thrown around all that often. Basically, that means that the Colts will get first right of refusal on Daniel Jones should another team throw an offer at him. So, the Colts will get to match the offer, and if they agree to match the offer, he will stay.
How do you think he feels? Like that? You got to feel pretty bad. I mean,
yes.
Dude, but it gives Indianapolis a position to say, like, hey, we either want him, we don't, we'll take that, we won't take that. It's actually pretty good if you're Indianapolis. I just don't know how it makes Daniel Jones feel here.
Where is Indy when it comes to the draft?
I'd say middle of the pack.
You know,
they had a great start of the season, then they fell off. I'd say they're probably drafting somewhere near 12 to 18.
The Colts will draft. Oh, here's the problem. They would have the 16th pick, but that goes to the Jets. So the Colts don't have a first-round draft pick.
Oh, that's not good.
That is not good at all.
No, that's not good.
So, as it stands right now, Vegas, Jets, the Jets will have 2 first-rounders. Vegas, Jets,
need it.
Cardinals, Titans, Giants, Browns, Commanders, Saints, Chiefs. How about that? Chiefs drafting in the top 10. Bengals. That'll be your top 10.
How about that?
NFL draft.
No, whoa. You missed the Panthers there. They're every year drafting top 10, right?
Not this year.
Ooh,
Not this year. The Carolina Panthers, Cole, have the 19th pick. So they're in a tough spot.
Dave Tepper's like, what do we do with our hands? I mean, the 19th pick. I mean, I'm not using 9.
I'm used to getting my pick done in the first 10 minutes and going to the bar.
Or he's either used to having the 1 and the 9, not the together. It's like, wait, we have the. He's probably thinking we have the 1st and the 9th. No, Dave, you have the 19th pick. Oh, gotcha. Big difference.
Well, if the Colts move on from Daniel Jones, they could go after Kyler Murray if they wanted to, because the Cardinals told him that they're going to release him next week.
Yeah, not good. Tolo's a big hump day show coming your way tomorrow. We have 3 guests, a loaded show for you tomorrow right here on the Fan Upstate.